Once upon a time there were three. No. Thank you for your company this morning. Enjoyed the bit of crack with you as always. Have a good Monday. We're going to pass you over to Greg Hughes.
All right, Lee. Have a great Monday.
You're looking good and fresh.
Do you think?
Oh, yeah.
Disturbed sleep, up since
the face looks fresh, the body's a bit tired.
I'm going to struggle.
No.
Anyway.
Have a good show.
All right, Lee. Thanks very much indeed. All right, it is the 9 till noon show, just approaching 9 o'clock. Let's get a news update from Donald Kavanagh.
Thank you, Greg. Good morning. The summary economic statement to be published today will set out just how much the government will have to spend at budget time to tackle the cost of living crisis. The coalition looks set to exceed its own spending rules, which had been set at an increase of 5% per year. There's now a growing expectation the budget will be brought forward to September with a significant social welfare package on the cards. A repeat payment of the €200 electricity credit, one of the measures being considered. Labour leader Ivana Bacik says the government, however, should not wait, but should act now.
And we think really the end of September, the date the government is suggesting that they may move on the budget, that's simply not soon enough for so many households. In particular, we're calling for government to introduce that social welfare bonus, that double payment now, in order to ensure that families will have that little extra cushion at the back to school time.
230 new jobs are on the cards for Letterkenny. The Donegal News reports today that Tata Consultancy Services, which acquired much of Letterkenny's Primerica operation in a recent takeover, is seeking 200 new employees, while Swiss-based tech company Trevisory Border Security is seeking 30 new staff over the next 2 years. It's based at the Colab Centre at the Donegal ATU campus. A security alert close to the Lecky flyover in Derry is over. Just after 20 to 7 last evening, a suspicious object was found in the area. It was later declared a hoax. Residents were allowed to return to their homes. Police were attacked with petrol bombs, paint bombs and other missiles while at the scene. And the Donegal Mountain Rescue Team is appealing to the public for support after participating in what was described as a difficult rescue in the Blue Stacks at the weekend. The rescue saw members stay overnight on the mountain with an injured man before he could be airlifted. With more, here's Emma Ryan.
At 9:15 on Saturday night, DMRT members were tasked by Anne Garda Síochána to assist a male casualty who was experiencing severe difficulty in the Blue Stack Mountains. The Rescue 118 helicopter was on the scene but could not extract the casualty. DMRT, backed by the Sligo Leitrim Mountain Rescue Team, located the casualty at 1:20 yesterday morning after what was described as an extremely difficult hike due to weather and terrain. It was decided that the team would stay on the hill until it was more suitable to evacuate, with communications continuing with Malin Head Coastguard throughout the night regarding the casualty's condition. At approximately 7:30 yesterday morning, the casualty was airlifted and DMRT returned to base. In a social media post following the rescue, DMRT is urging people to support them so they can continue to help those who need their assistance.
And Danish police believe a gunman who killed 3 people in a shopping centre was acting alone and selected his victims at random. 2 of the dead were just 17. 4 other people have critical injuries. A 22-year-old Danish man known to mental health services has been arrested. Copenhagen's Chief Police Inspector Sorin Thomason says one possible motive has been ruled out.
There is nothing in our investigation or the documents we have reviewed, the things we have found, or the witness statements we have received that can substantiate that this is an act of terrorism.
Largely dry today with a good deal of cloud and just some occasional brighter sunny spells. Some isolated showers again in the afternoon. During the evening, cloud will thicken with patchy drizzle developing. Top temperatures today around 15 degrees Celsius. Mostly moderate west to northwest winds. Fresh to strong on northern coasts. And that's Highland Radio News. Back with news in full at 10 o'clock.
Travelling soon? Get your travel money completely, securely sorted with OnPost Money. Both your cash and a handy currency card, a 24/7 card helpline and emergency cash if you lose your card abroad. So you're always sorted, whether you're here...
The next station is London Bridge.
...or here... or thousands of other places worldwide. Get your travel money sorted with OnPost Money. Visit onpost.com or your local post office. T's and C's apply. OnPost Money currency card is issued by PPS EUSA, pursuant to license by MasterCard International. PPS EUSA is authorised by the National Bank of Belgium and is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland for conduct of business rules.
And now, it's time for the talk of the Northwest. The 9 to Noon Show with Greg Hughes on Highland Radio.
Hello and a very good morning to you. 4 minutes past 9 on this Monday, the 4th of July. Happy 4th of July, everyone. I hope you're very well indeed, and I hope you had a good weekend and hopefully now we can look forward to some improvement in our weather as this week wears on. All right, 3 hours of information, entertainment, interaction. Hopefully you're on board with us. Get in touch right now. You can watch the programme by going to our website, highlandradio.com. You'll see the link there. Or go straight to our YouTube and Facebook channels. Feel free to comment there and interact with us as well. Good morning to Michael and Stevie already having their say. And if you wish to text or WhatsApp us, it's 086 60 25,000, 086 60 25,000, or call 07491 25,000. Loads lined up for you, but of course, if there's a conversation you want to have or an issue you want to raise, well then feel free to get in contact with us and we'll do our best to accommodate that. Right, okay. Let's start with a look at the newspapers for this Monday morning. The Derry People Donegal News Monday edition. Letterkenny is in line for 2 significant jobs boosts. Swiss tech company Travazori Border Security SA has opened an office in the CoLab at Atlantic Technologies University and plans to add 30 staff to its Irish operations over the next 2 years. And Tata Consultancy Services is to hold an open evening to help it recruit 200 new workers. Travazori Border Security was founded in 2019 by senior executives from across the air transport industry. It works with law enforcement, governments and border agencies to combat security threats. Also a picture on the front of the paper today of the Soapbox Sunday, and it's a picture of Ben Carr. He's got air, I think is what they call it. You've seen these soapbox challenges perhaps on TV. Well, Ramelton hosted one yesterday and looks like a very well attended and really good crack event. The Derry News talks to avert 4-week strike, labelled as an exclusive. Talks are expected to resume this week to avert a 4-week strike by local council workers planned for 2 weeks' time. Members of the Unite Union on Derry City and Strabane District Council have vowed to walk out on July 18th if their demands for a fair pay increase are not met. A week-long strike in April and a 2-week stoppage in May had a significant impact on council services, including the non-collection of household waste, closure of recycling centres and leisure facilities. It's understood some progress was made at a meeting between both parties on Friday last, but did not go far enough for the proposed strike to be called off. On to the Nationals now, and we read from the Irish Times that Coalition plans a budget package of over 6.5 billion, but not till late September, early October it seems. The Coalition is planning a budget package of more than 6.5 billion with significant increases in spending for tax changes and welfare increases. Ministers and officials were last night finalising the summer economic statement, and sources said it will see an increase in spending of more than 2 billion in comparison to last year's budget. The government originally planned for a budget day package which included 1 billion in new spending and 500 million for tax changes. It's understood that 1.5 billion will now be put aside for new expenditure, with spending on new tax measures to increase from 500 million to 1 billion. The government had already flagged an extra spending package across departments of more than 4 billion, some of which is additional spending across health and housing, but some of which is also on maintaining existing services. Sources have cautioned that a public pay agreement will have to come from these figures, eating into the government's room to manoeuvre, and that much of the money in Budget 2023 will be used simply to stand still, which is not very good, is it? And it's quite interesting that, is this the early pitch of public workers versus private workers? There's a pot there, and private workers and those on welfare will get as much as is left behind after the public sector has its chunk. That seems to be what's being suggested there. On to the Irish Independent now, and unfortunately, as many of you out there would know, lots of people are coming down with COVID, and it seems it's going to be a pattern going forward. But a new national COVID vaccine programme for all adults is on the way because of a lack of protection against new variants of the virus. It comes as Taoiseach Micheál Martin admitted he was worried about the impact of COVID-19 this winter. The virus still remains a very strong disruptive capacity, which I think has been underestimated by people, he told the Irish Independent, referring to the hard-hit health system and wider economy. Mr Martin said the rollout of a fourth round of COVID vaccines was likely in the autumn due to the evolution of the virus. Now, I'm not sure if it's going to be a new jab or the same one that has been given for the last couple of years, and I wonder what the uptake of it might be. I mean, I think, you know, if people can get it, there is a willingness amongst those who would be, you know, maybe of a certain age group or have issues with their immune system. I wonder if they roll it out for the general population, what the uptake might be. I would say it certainly won't be close to where it was previously, but we shall see. Mr. Martin said the rollout of a fourth round of COVID vaccines was likely in the autumn due to the evolution of the virus, and I read that. New injections could incorporate the latest variants amid a summer spike in infections. This current wave has increased pressure on hospitals and seen dozens of flights cancelled as airlines grapple with staff absences. The Taoiseach said he was worried about the coming winter, but a new vaccination programme for all would depend on the advice of the National Immunisation Advisory Council. Dr. Killian de Gascon, director of the National Virus Reference Laboratory, said yesterday it could be presumed there'll be an increase in cases this winter at the beginning of the year, left with no immunity to the virus. And as I say, they're taking slightly a harder line from what I've heard from the likes of the WHO, but sure, look, we'll have to wait and see. What do you think about this? The Irish Daily Mail. Would you be interested in a border poll right now? Or you see in Scotland, obviously, the path has been laid for another poll. It's not a border poll, but you know what I mean. And they've set, I think, late 2023. When is the time to have the same conversation in a really meaningful way on this island? Taoiseach Leo Varadkar believes it is not now, and I'm not sure what other parties really feel in terms of timelines. But he says a border poll would not be appropriate or right at this time. However, the Fine Gael leader has called for the tests around when Northern Ireland Secretary Brandon Lewis should call a referendum on Irish unity to be clarified. The Tánaiste, is set to become Taoiseach in December, described the aspiration to united Ireland as a legitimate one. However, he added, I don't think it's appropriate or right at this time, fundamentally because I think we need to get the Assembly and Executive up and running. We need to resolve the issues around protocol, and I think that can be done. Mr. Varadkar told BBC Northern Ireland's Sunday Politics programme that he did not believe the tests laid out in the Belfast Agreement or the Good Friday Agreement had been met. He said that while Sinn Féin emerged as the largest party for the first time in the Northern Ireland Assembly, it did not gain any seats, and that the number of MLAs who want a united Ireland was lower now than previously. But what's the appetite of the public, I wonder, across the island? You know, north, south, east and west. Okay, let's go to the... And by the way, have you all say 08660 25,000 from Northern Ireland, 00353 8660 25,000. Right, you have to feel for soldiers based in Finner Camp, according to the Irish Daily Star. They've labelled this story an exclusive, but it's in papers elsewhere. Soldiers are being ordered on a round trip of more than 500 kilometres to work as security at Dublin Airport. The paper has learned that 40 soldiers from the 28th Infantry Battalion, based at Finner Camp, are in Dublin today for special training before being deployed to the crisis-ridden airport. They leave Donegal at 6 a.m. today for a 520-kilometre round trip between their Ballyshannon camp and Dublin for the 2-day training course on how to act as security at the nation's main airport. And once the government gives the nod, they will then be deployed from Donegal to spend up to a week at a time at the airport. The soldiers were sent for training after the government announced last week that the army was being put on standby to help with security at the airport following recent delays, which led to thousands of passengers missing flights. Now, I'm not sure what the feeling is amongst those soldiers or their families, but they're a long way away to be tasked to Dublin Airport, you'd imagine, wouldn't you, that there are soldiers based closer. But anyway, if you've got an insight into that, give us a call 07491 25,000 or WhatsApp or text 08660 25,000. Coverage across the papers today as well, of course, of an awful event which took place in Denmark. We don't know exactly what the reason for it was or what reason might be given, but the Irish Daily Mail tells us that a number of people were shot dead at a shopping centre in Denmark just hours before Harry Styles was set to perform nearby. Terrified shoppers were seen running for safety after the rampage in Copenhagen yesterday afternoon. A Danish man, 22, was arrested over the attack at Field Shopping Mall, which Police Chief Søren Thomason could not rule out as an act of terrorism. And literally, like minutes after this happened, because obviously there are those on site posting on social media very, very quickly. But minutes after this happened, I would say before they even meant most of the emergency services had even gotten on site, this awful tragedy here had been shoehorned into the debate in America about guns, with those in favour of retaining guns using it to make their argument. It's not just America and so on and so forth, and those opposed coming up with different arguments. And you just wonder, maybe it's just on social media But yes, maybe it's time to have a debate, but surely let's wait until the emergency services are on the scene. People now just can completely disattach from the emotional or tragedy of a situation now and just politicise it immediately. I don't understand it, but it seems that's just the way we are now. But armed officers were alerted and the gig by Styles a mile away was axed. Witness Jacob Sahan Ekman heard about 15 shots before hiding in a bar. Lord Mayor Sophie Hastrop Anderson said, "We do not know yet how many are dead, but it's very serious." And I think there is confirmation of those numbers on the wires here. I'll get them for you a little later on. And let's look at the Sun now. And this is much more light-hearted, but apparently shoppers are ditching traditional condiments such as brown sauce for more exotic options. Sales of the sweet umber dressing are down 12.4%, with experts suggesting millennials are shunning the full Irish for alternatives that don't suit the toppings, such as smashed avocado. So your traditional Irish breakfast with brown sauce or red sauce, depending on how you feel. The Millennium crew are instead opting for smashed avocado, etc. Other traditional sauces, such as mustard, although I don't think mustard is incredibly... this must be, maybe it's an English article. I don't think mustard's hugely popular here, is it? Tomato ketchup, of course, is. They're also falling in popularity, with many people now going for hotter options like peri-peri sauce. Pam Digva of Sauce Producers Sauce Shop said brown sauce doesn't go with a lot of the sorts of food people tend to eat these days. Avocado and brown sauce, obviously a big no-no. That said, I do think there's always space on the plate for ketchup. Brown sauce has been a favourite for decades, with top brand HP sauce now owned by Heinz, founded 127 years ago. Okay. 086 60 25,000, just to remind you, WhatsApp and text that number. The lines are open. Emma and Donna Marie taking your calls today on 074 91 25,000. Or as I say, you can join us on our social media, interact and watch with us there on our website, highlandradio.com. Good morning to Margaret McBride and also Rosemary Casty watching with us today. All right, we'll be back with more after the break.
Irish sun doesn't really count, right?
Look, we all deserve a bit of sun.
Skin cancer is the most common cancer in Ireland, so whether you're at home or abroad, protect your skin by following these sun smart steps. Slip into long loose clothes, slop on the sunscreen, slap on a sun hat, seek shade. Yeah, even on the cloudy days. Oh, and slide on the sunglasses.
I do have very funky sunglasses.
And I do love this hat.
Be Sunsmart from the HSE and Healthy Ireland.
Forward Emphasis International, based in Mallinhead, are recruiting for their IT, training and customer service teams, with both in-office and hybrid opportunities available. Experience in contact centres or insurance services is desirable but not essential, as full training is provided for customer service roles. Please visit their website www.forwardemphasis.ie and apply via their careers page.
Beat the cost of Brexit with no customs charges. Do you need a UK address for your limited company or personal use? Space Hub in Derry can provide you with your own mailbox. Have your post and parcels delivered to Space Hub and collect at your convenience. There's brand new 20-foot shipping containers now in stock, ideal for all your storage needs at our Springtown and Coolmore depots. Find us on Facebook at spacehubderry.com or call 04871 878077 for more details.
Okay, right. We're joined on the programme now by Grania Hines, who's advocate for older citizens and ex-chair of Older People's Council and of North West Region Active Retirement and of Letterkenny Active Retirement. So obviously, Grania very active in this area. Good morning to you, Grania. Thanks for joining me.
Yes, good morning, Greg.
Nice to chat to you again. Right, now... you say the position of respite and home care in Letterkenny is practically non-existent at the moment. Just for those who may not be fully aware, when we talk of respite and home care, what are those? What describe those services a little bit more to us and who might avail of them?
Yeah, well, you have carers, you have children looking after their parents, you have parents looking after children with very serious conditions. I'm actually speaking on behalf of all carers as well, but in particular dementia patients who are very difficult to manage. It's a 24-hour job, day and night, because often they get restless at night, they're up during the night, so the carers have a very difficult task. Now, this is possible, and they do it out of love, I'm sure, for their parents and for their loved ones. But they do need sometimes to get respite. The respite is really where perhaps the person with dementia can go into St. Joseph's, Lifford, or Ramelton. This is the places for Letterkenny. Now, as we know, Lifford is closed. St. Joseph's have very few places at the moment, and Ramelton have very few places as well. So it's very difficult to get this respite, which they are entitled to. I'm not criticising the HSE. They have wonderful plans on paper for people. They have many people you can contact who are very caring in the HSE. And they actually, Donegal County Council have appointed a person, Dawn Thompson, who is in charge of dementia care, and she will give you all the advice that you need. But they have all the advice. They have the conditions they'd like to be in place. But when people go to get the respite, it's not available. I think if people even had one day...
Yeah, before we talk more about that, I just want to talk about the importance of respite, because as you say, people have no issue in looking after their family members, but it's not necessarily something they're trained for. It's often happens and they have to step up. Now, I think maybe it's more relatable to people who understand what it's like having a newborn baby, what it feels like when you don't get a full any time to yourself during the day or any sleep at night. Now, I'm only comparing sleep patterns, by the way, when I use that analogy, but it gets at you very quick. So your physical and mental health can start to deteriorate yourself whilst you're in the role of a carer and dealing with the emotions that are probably attached with that as well. I mean, respite is critical to the carer's physical and mental well-being, Grania.
It is very, very critical. And they would even find it difficult to get a window of time to phone and talk to the appropriate person in the HSE because they just don't get that time. It's constant. So it is very difficult for them. And I know a lot of them are getting burnt out and finding it very, very difficult. The other thing which would be good would be a day centre where perhaps the person could go down for a few hours every day or maybe even one day a week to give the carer time to do some personal care for themselves.
The only problem is, Grania, we're actually seeing those type of facilities, the days available or their availability at all worsening. We're not seeing us standing still or the situation improving. We're seeing, facilities, and I'm thinking of the one in Buncrana, for example, which was available 5 days a week. I think now it's only 3. Maybe a person can get in there one day a week. Now, I'm not saying that's necessarily, respite in the way that we're talking, but it is a form of it. Like, what I'm trying to get at here, Granny, is we're almost going backwards rather than us standing still and trying to improve.
We certainly are, and as a member of Active Retirement Ireland, we lobbied for a long time for a Minister for Older People. Now, Mary Butler is now the Minister for Older Person, but I don't see any improvement in plans for anything for respite or help for this type of person, these carers. If you even look at the new community hospital, which is planned for Letterkenny, I believe there is only 10 beds allocated for dementia patients. There is no plan, as far as I can see, for a day centre where they could attend, as you say, for a few hours every day, even one day a week. We have a wonderful building in Connells, which could be, I think, adapted for a very good care centre in Letterkenny. And it's very, very difficult for the carers. And the HSE, if they have a problem with giving respite, will go to the nursing homes, the private nursing homes, and allow patients to go in there. But to be quite honest, you need special type of staff for dementia patients. You need clinical care, which is slightly different for normal patients who would be in a nursing home. And I don't think that is... All nursing homes do not have that. They do not have the facilities. They do not have the money to put these things in place. And it's very, very difficult for a nursing home. I'm not criticising them, but they do help out in emergency. But that is not the answer. The answer is people who are trained in this. There's a lot of technological advances for these people. There's a lot of things that can be done sensory for them. And this is not available in normal nursing. I think we need to revise also the fair deal so that it can be adjusted so people can stay at home who have dementia. So the carers who are caring for them have the money and to pay private carers to come in and help them. And that would be a big help. There is supposed to be, and when these patients go into hospital, this is another problem. There is supposed to be a pathway for dementia patients in the hospital, but 94% of our hospitals don't have that pathway in place.
Grania, I mean, obviously, too, we have to factor in as part of the conversation, or I would like to, if that's okay, the fact that it seems almost acceptable now, because we're not doing much to stop it, that, say, for instance, people over the age of 75 visiting the ED can routinely expect to be waiting, 8 to 12 hours before they are seen to. We also talk of, and we've spoken on this programme, of people's experience and frustrations in dealing with some GPs. Does this, and you talked also, of course, about a Minister for Older People and in action in that regard. Like, are we turning our backs on older people? And you could even probably start talking about the closure of post offices and Garda stations and the move away from customer services and onto digital. Like, the world seems to want to move on with no consideration for anyone over 50, if that makes sense. Like, I mean, what's going on in this country?
Yes, and I think that there is no, I mean, I am a good believer in statistics. I know a lot of people don't like them, but I mean, we do need statistics on the number of people who are over 70, say, even take Donegal is what I'm concerned about. And so that we can plan for day centres, for care, for proper care for them, but there doesn't seem to be an impetus to do this. And that is something the government will need to look at. I think it's a political issue at this stage. And I think older people need somebody like Betty Holmes who is prepared. And I mean, I'm not an expert in any of this, but I mean, if you have, it seems we need to have people like her all the time pushing the government
if you look
to do
at,
something.
if you look at the conversation now, and it's in the press again today, and it will be for the only real thing that gets into the newspapers as it relates to older people is that there's too many of them. In other words,
exactly.
in the context and the conversation of pressure on the hospitals, it's an ageing population. PSI is going to have to go up because there's too many older people. We've got 4.5 workers per one retiree at the moment. In the future, that's going to be 1 for 1 or 2 for 1. And the concern is, the burden of older people on the working people. So the conversations that gets ink, generally speaking, are whereby older people are painted as being a problem. And again, that feeds. I thought things maybe have changed through COVID when we made a lot of sacrifices to protect vulnerable and older people. But that goodwill seems to have been lost. Again, it seems to this country that older people are a pain. I don't believe that, obviously, and I hope people realise that. But you get where I'm coming from, Grania?
Yes, I do exactly get where you're coming from. And I think people forget how much older people contribute to society, particularly in these days of crash care, etc. They care for their children's children. They help them with their mortgages. They help people with loans. I mean, they do so much for society. Most volunteers are older people. And for Vincent de Paul, for all these charity groups, you will find that the majority of people who volunteer to do work are older people. And it's very, actually, as you say, it's as if they are a burden, and they are not a burden. They contribute big time to the economy. I mean, they spend their money. They help their children, they help their families, they help the community by volunteering. And yet, as you say, when they need help, when they get to the stage where they need help, this doesn't seem to be a priority at any stage. I mean, Letterkenny has a very large population. I don't know what the census is, but in the 2011 census, I think there was 15% of the population of Donegal lived in Letterkenny. And Letterkenny never had a community hospital. Like, there are places like Donegal, Carndonagh, Falcarra, which are much better served than Letterkenny.
Mm-hmm.
And I just want I'd like the councillors to take this issue up for older people, to look at the plans, the town plans, to look at the plans for this new community hospital, and to think of the people who perhaps will end up with dementia. There's one other little thing I'd like to say, that older people should be very careful when they get to 70, particularly, that perhaps they take out power of attorney. So their loved ones can, to have assets that they can take care of them, because otherwise the carers have no power. All they have is €203 a week. I mean, when you look at that, and you look at what private carers and €20 per hour for per hour. So if they were doing one day, you're talking about €200 a day, up to €200. And yet carers, that is their full, that is all they get for caring for these people.
Yeah, but the problem, unfortunately, their willingness to step up for a loved one, their goodwill it's not rewarded. In fact, I would argue it's exploited.
It's exploited big time. There's one other thing. There is a lot of older people are very nervous about going to solicitors to make a power of attorney. But there are solicitors for elderly. It's an organisation which is in England and is now in Ireland. And I think there is one solicitor in Letterkenny who has signed up. I think it's Langan and Clark. And they look at people and don't charge huge fees for this service.
Right. Grania, listen, it's been...
I would also, there's one other thing. If the HSE would only give out a pamphlet, when people are, say, diagnosed with dementia, if they would give the carers a pamphlet with all the numbers that are needed, because going into the internet, you could spend days getting all the numbers that you're supposed to ring.
All right.
But I would advise people to contact Dawn Thompson at alzheimers.ie, because she is the officer now in charge of this, and she will advise you. And she's a very lovely person. Yeah.
Grania, thanks for your time this morning. I appreciate it. Have a lovely day. Okay, take care of yourself. Grania Hines there, who's an advocate for older citizens. What do you think? 086 60 25,000. WhatsApps and text to that number there. Caller says, Greg, where's our good weather? But say, like everything else, Donegal would be the last place to get it. Well, it's going to improve. The high pressure is building. Obviously, we're in the northwest. High pressure builds from the south. It is going to improve, and each day this week and heading into next weekend, it's going to be improving and more settled, it seems, through at least the early middle part of July. We shall see. We shall see. Obviously, we're in the northwest, and when you live here, there is a expectation, isn't there, that we aren't always going to get fantastic weather. Right, just the numbers for you to stay in contact with us: 07491 25,000, 07491 25,000, or give us a text or WhatsApp to 08660 25,000.
Tune in this Tuesday to the Community Garda information slot, on air after 10 a.m. on the 9 till noon show in association with Sheridan Security Systems. Call today and get your zero-wire alarm system from €299. Sheridan Security, 91-26025.
Inishowen Credit Union has recently launched Cultivate, an agricultural loan at only 6.55%, APR 6.75%. Call any of their 4 offices for more information or to make an appointment. Inishowen Credit Union, Buncrana, Carndona, Moville and Muff, supporting local farmers. Inishowen Credit Union is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
Build a better future with a digital transformation course. With digital transformation courses from Advanced Centre, you can improve the way we work together and do business. The power behind 3 of Ireland's leading universities, UCD, ATU Sligo and TU Dublin, have combined to offer flexible, accredited digital transformation courses, from individual modules to full programmes. Starting in September, your future is enrolling now. See advancedcentre.ie.
Green Shoes in Letterkenny and Fulcara have shoes for every occasion. All your favourite brands, from Una Healy, Tommy Bow and Echo, to Kate Appleby, Marcosi and Skechers, plus many more. Shop LK and One for All gift cards are gratefully accepted in store. Green Shoes in Letterkenny at Market Square and Letterkenny Shopping Centre, Fulcara, and online at greenshoes.com. Green Shoes, with the perfect fit for every foot.
Okay, you're very welcome back to the programme. We welcome on to it Michael Grosenbach from iMotors. Good morning to you, Michael. Thanks for joining us.
Good morning, Greg. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. Okay, right. So, I mean, we're well used to it now. We're into sort of like the second half of 2022 as it relates to car sales. But just looking at some of the statistics as it relates to, you know, the year-on-year figures for Donegal, how is the market holding up in terms of new car sales locally?
Yeah, it's really strong at the moment. Like we started our pre-sales for 2022 back in October of last year. So we had an unbelievable amount of orders in. And of course, supply has always been the issue and still is. But luckily, we were able to accommodate most of our customers. Look, some models are still on hold, but overall, the market is very, very strong.
Is it frustrating to sort of have the consumer demand there, but not always the product? And I'm not necessarily speaking, solely from an iMotors perspective, but from an industry perspective more widely.
Yeah, no, like I would say every person who works in the motor trade would agree with me. It's very frustrating because the problem is it's just, people want to buy your product and it's just not readily available. So, and especially it's just down to certain models and certain engine types. When you look at electric, there's a huge demand there at the moment, but some electric models will not be readily available now till 2023.
Yeah, and do we have some certainty in relation to 2023 availability, Michael?
We're being told it's picture and it's looking a lot better for everybody, for the dealers and for the customers. Look, the supply chain issue started with the chip shortage back in 2020, and a pent-up demand built from there, and it's just clearing the backlog now and getting back on track. So 2023, all things are looking like we'll be back to a certain level of normality.
Do you have any concerns that, while there's a positive sentiment amongst consumers there now, that, as this year wears on and heading into 2023, that even those with money, those that have managed to accumulate some money or have the spending capacity, that they might hold on to that money? In other words, if all the cars were available now, you could strike while the iron's hot, but, we could see a switch between demand and availability in the other direction for 2023.
Look, that's always a possibility, but I suppose the biggest thing is because, look, everybody knows the market, the economy is quite uncertain at the moment, and there's a lot of scaremonger. But look, hopefully everything will stay strong. And, the ERSI has predicted that there's still going to be growth for the rest of the year, so hopefully that will lead into 2023. I suppose what people are also doing is they're weighing up the fact that as you upgrade throughout the years, your car becomes more efficient, it's better safety features, your insurance goes down. So once you kind of weigh up the cost of investment to purchasing a new vehicle versus running costs, it makes sense for a lot of people at the moment.
What are people buying, Michael, at the moment? Because some of the figures on electric hybrid, they're through the roof. I mean, are we selling new diesel cars anymore, for example, or in great numbers, or are people moving away from diesel?
No, look, diesel is very strong at the moment. The reality is, and especially in Donegal, unfortunately, we just don't have the infrastructure here when you compare it to the likes of your Dublin, Galway, or Limerick to be able to say we've public chargers readily available at the moment. That's increasing public transport. So diesel is very strong in Donegal. Like again, the Kia Sportage is the number one selling car in Donegal, and the majority of those have been diesel, while there is hybrid options available also.
And there's an irony here, isn't there? Because the public will is there to move to hybrid or full electric, and that's what the government want, and the government's taxing people into that decision to some extent. But you're someone who sells these cars, saying that the infrastructure means people are quite hesitant. And the government is responsible for that to a great extent, the public infrastructure. It's a strange situation we're in, isn't it?
It is, and I suppose it's not a situation that we find ourselves in very often. But yes, like you are right. If the government want people to drive hybrids or electric, they do have to step up to the mark now and start bringing in the infrastructure, because it's very hard to ask somebody to do something when, like, let's call a spade a spade. Donegal is different to Dublin, and when Dublin have chargers readily available everywhere, it can't be the same situation for somewhere like Donegal.
Do you get a sense, though, just in terms of the transition to electric for those who can afford it, of course, that there is, less of that range anxiety and what have you? A lot of the new electric cars, even in a rural county, you can probably, for a lot of people, you can do your commute and your daily driving. Do you get a sense that people are sort of seeing electric now as a more everyday, usable, even family car option?
Yeah, no, like I suppose regarding the range, like the new, we would sell the Kia EV6 here, and the new Nissan Ariya is also on its way to us. But we're talking 500 kilometers plus. So this is now a car that you can actually work with this compared to a few years ago. You're talking maybe 250 to 300 kilometers in real world driving. So people now are starting to get the confidence because they don't feel that they're going to be caught on the side of the road. The range is realistic and they can work with that, especially when they can get the chargers installed at home also.
And finally, obviously, there doesn't seem to be many options. I've seen some of them, but, in terms of your vans, your small vans, your larger vans, your pickups, like I know the likes of Ford are releasing a transit range, and there are some electric pickups, but they're still at sort of novelty stage. Where do you see that going into the future? Because it's only a matter of time before attention focuses there. Are there hybrid options in your likes of your pickups or your 4x4s or your vans, or will there be, or where's the market going to sort of meet that need, particularly in an area like Donegal with a lot of agriculture, outdoor type vehicles needed?
Yeah, like personally speaking, and I suppose, look, I could be wrong on this, and many people could be wrong on this, but I feel that for the passenger vehicle market, it'll be pushed towards electric, and that's where we're all going down the line. Again, we're talking a number of years away before there's mass adoption. Where I see LCV and trucks and different heavy vehicles going, I see hydrogen coming, and a lot of manufacturers are working in the background on hydrogen. You go to your traditional petrol station, you fill the hydrogen gas in 5 or 10 minutes, and water comes out your exhaust. So that's where I see the LCV market and heavy truck market going. But again, we're a number of years away from that.
And very, very finally, just curious, we're a few years into now this sort of, 2 plates in the 1 year. Has that been good for the industry, or how does that work? I mean, do people in December go, right, I want a new car in January, stuff it, I might wait till July, or are more people buying cars in the second half of the year than would have, if you combine the 2 periods? Are more people buying cars, or are you just splitting it over sort of the 2 6 months periods, Michael, across the industry? I'm not asking your private iMotors business.
Yeah. No, like January would always traditionally be a very big, because the change of year, there's always a demand there. But since the change in plates, there's definitely a huge demand for the second part of the year. And it's funny because everybody has different reasons for changing. But coming into the summer period, a lot of people are already getting back to, they're thinking about getting back to school already with the kids, even though they're only off, or they might be out for staycation. So that's what we're finding. People have different things planned once they get their vehicle in the second part of the year. But it's definitely after taking away some of that pressure where everybody was coming to it the first part of the year, All
right, thanks for your time this morning. I appreciate it. That's Michael Crosenbeck from iMotors. Talking of new sales in Donegal, they've increased 2.73% compared to last year. Right, okay, we appreciate his time this morning. 086 60 25,000 WhatsApps and texts. Greg said he thought things would be different after the pandemic, after all the work done to protect the elderly and vulnerable. But it was not done to protect us, it was done to protect the hospitals and prevent overcrowding. Well, I know, and I'm not, listen, it's not something, like I'm not saying stating a fact. I can't state facts because I'm just one person and everyone's opinions is the same. My feeling is, and those around me and my family and friends, they couldn't make the connection, the emotional connection necessarily with keeping the pressure off the hospital, but they did make decisions based on vulnerable family members or older family members. I know lots of young people, that was their motivation, and others. So that was where my comment came from. It was about saying, look, there's a particular group of people that are more vulnerable to this, and we're going to make serious adjustments in our lives and accept serious imposition on our lives to protect them. That's what I thought. But if you're saying that people were doing it to protect hospitals, well, that's fine. That's your opinion as well. Why is the Taoiseach and Fine Gael so opposed to the reunification of this country? It is. They are of the view, they say, that it's what they want. They're in favour of it if the people are, but not right now. But some people might perceive that as being not interested in it at all. Grania was 100% correct. As a former carer and advocate, I feel that carers are forgotten, emotionally abused by the state. They save the HSE millions but can't strike. Their 24/7 job is undervalued and underpaid. Another, carers have not been fully listened to by the state since I said I asked the members to close their eyes and imagine what would happen if carers went on strike today. How would they cope? It would be a real emergency. Right, another caller says, hi Greg, love the show. Thank you very much. That's lovely of you to say. The two-plate system is there to drive sales. Cars are too expensive. They should introduce private regs and scrap VRT. The money generated would be more than the tax generated by VRT. I think we don't or got rid of private plates. Was it to do with security during the Troubles or something? I don't know why. They're quite widespread, of course, in Britain and Northern Ireland and the United States and elsewhere. Would you have an appetite for a personalised number plate? What would it be? Some would say mine would be BS222022. But anyway, we'll be back with more on the 9 till noon show. More guests after this break.
Do you suffer from high cholesterol, menopause symptoms, digestive issues, anxiety, aches and pains, or a lack of energy? The highly trained team at The Natural Way Letterkenny can provide advice on natural remedies for a number of individual health issues. The Natural Way also has its own brand of herbal treatments to help fight fatigue, relieve digestive discomfort, maintain a healthy immune system, and alleviate common menopause symptoms. The Natural Way at Letterkenny Shopping Centre, your one-stop health shop.
Looking for the summer sporty look from the best brands like Nike, Adidas and Under Armour? Brian McCormick Sports and Leisure has your summer look. Nike Pro Tees and vest tops with matching shorts. Nike mid-layer quarter zips with women's tights in many different lengths. Under Armour t-shirts with matching bicycle length shorts, layered with new woven jackets and quarter zip tops. Look the part, play the part. In-store or online. Click and collect on bmcsports.ie.
Experience everything this summer has to offer here at Letterkenny Shopping Centre, with a wide range of shops and services packed with great choice and value for you to explore. You can enjoy free parking, Wi-Fi and take a break with our popular outdoor seating area. Letterkenny Shopping Centre. We can't wait to see you.
Ceol Killia Summer School and Trad Camp will take place in College Alley, Letterkenny, Monday the 11th to Friday the 15th of July. Masterclasses with some of Ireland's top trad artists, including accordion, fiddle, flute, banjo and more. Children and adults are welcome. Trad Camp for kids with introduction to music 5 years and over. For more, visit ceolnakillia.ie.
Okay, you're very welcome back to the 9 till noon show. Have you any questions about cooking with fruit and veg, cooking in general? Get them into us really quick, 086 60 25,000, and I might put them to Kwan Ji Chan, Donegal Michelin TV chef and ambassador for the first year of Bode Bia's 3-year Life is Better with Fruit and Veg campaign. Congratulations, by the way, on getting that position. It's a nice recognition for you, I'm sure.
Thanks very much, Greg, and thanks for having me on the show. So,
what do you see your role over the next? What do you see your role with? What do you see your role with Bode Bia?
Yeah. So the campaign is an EU fruit and veg campaign. So basically, we're really trying to get the millennials or the younger generation to eat fruit and vegetables. Most of us do anyway, because everybody's going to the gym, everybody's eating really healthy these days. So we're just giving a bit of extra push and maybe giving loads of recipes on. Fruitandveg.ie or potato.ie. So there's like loads and loads of recipes on there. Very simple that you can really cook at home very easily. Fruit and veg that's in season that you can grab in the supermarket. So it's all about that. It's very, very simple.
I was chatting to someone not so long ago and they said, really, we shouldn't be talking about fruit and veg. We should talk about, no, stay with me here. I'm just reordering the words. We should actually be talking about veg and fruit. Because in terms of our broader diet and we've a 5 a day here, in some countries it's 12 a day, that we put the emphasis on the nice stuff first and the second stuff, the bad stuff second. So our priority in our head should be veg and fruit, should it, in terms of our intake?
Absolutely. Vegetables is, it should be your daily kind of intake anyway. Very, very popular at the moment is salad bowl places for lunchtime, getting your salads, getting your greens in there, your broccoli, your tomatoes, your spinach, that's very important, for even your health and your well-being, but also fruit as well, strawberries are in perfect season at the moment, nice strawberry smoothie,
I had one dipped in chocolate there the other day. It was delicious.
Did you? Yeah. I know we were handing out loads of strawberries and body and soul there in the campaign with Borbia there, but we were basically handing out punnets and punnets of strawberries just people walking by, 10 o'clock in the morning for breakfast.
Do you think we are generally, though, in this country good at eating fruit and veg and cooking with fruit and veg? Because recently I was at a calf, right? And the food was delicious, but I glanced around and 5 or 6 young people, the parents were eating all this lovely food. They were having goujons and chips. And the reason I can say this without being judgmental is because I was sitting beside my own teenager with the exact same plate, so I'm able to say it. And couldn't get them to say, try something different. It was like to get them to try something new to eat. It's almost like one of those Bush Tucker trials of I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here. I just wonder, like, are we, I mean, there are obviously groups of people that really look after themselves, but I wonder what our diet is like generally in this country. Do you think we eat enough, particularly maybe even the younger people, varieties of food?
Yeah, I think we're nearly there. I think the younger generation are really getting pushed in eating fruit and veg in school. So there is a different campaign like hitting out the little portions of veg that's heading out the younger generation, in the first class, second class, or something like that. But I think it's called Food Dudes. But yeah, look, I think even between like 20 upwards, like they're very healthy at the moment. They love their smoothies, they love all their proteins and stuff like that. I think it's the young next down. Like I have a 9-year-old, and like sometimes when she sees broccoli, she kind of pushes it aside as well.
Dip it in chocolate.
But even if she likes mashed potatoes, like mash it in the mash, or but the funny thing, she loves broccoli and stir fry. So I think that you need to kind of be creative, and a stir fry was always really good with a bit of noodles in there, because the kids love noodles, and just hide it in there. Doesn't have to be laced with soy sauce with salt, but it can be done with a nice kind of oyster sauce as well.
Yeah,
beautiful. You know what I mean? So yeah.
And also so easy to do as well. And I think we have to be careful too, maybe us as adults, if we have peculiarities, not to speak around them amongst children, because there's people I know, the young ones won't eat tomatoes, or they won't eat eggs, or not because they've ever tried them and disliked them, but dad doesn't like them, or mom doesn't like them, or
my friend doesn't like them,
exactly.
Unless my friend doesn't like them in school, so we had that problem as well. But look, it's all about I suppose balance diet, you know what I mean? So you need your protein, you need your meat, and you need your veg, so we're not pushing over to the veg side, but it's more of a balanced diet. We have some really fantastic meats here in Ireland as well, being produced, especially our beef. But look, it's all about a balanced diet and being creative. Like
it's so important. It's because a lot of people think when we talk about balanced diets, and I want to get some barbecue advice off you shortly, because we hopefully are going to be able to get our barbecues out. But I think people think when you talk about like fruit and veg that it's about weight, but it's about supporting your digestive system as well. What you consume, be it something as simple as water or fiber, or however you might get that, it determines how your body processes food, how it gets it out of your body. A balanced diet is really, really important in that regard for anyone who's got digestive issues, dependent on what those digestive issues are, of course.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, a balanced diet is essential. You know what I mean? Like, you need your water, you need your vegetables, you need your 5 a day. But absolutely, and it just helps to function your full body immune system. To boost that up as well. But yeah, look, I think we're really close to it. We're just kind of highlighting a bit more about the seasonal stuff that we have here in Ireland as well. And but yeah, keep it up. Like if you're really enjoying your vegetables and your salads and stuff like that, it's perfect summer for it as well.
Yeah, okay. And a salad dressing is a good salad dressing. Very hard. Very hard to find recipes for a good salad dressing. And chefs, it's like asking them to give up their firstborn child. What's in that salad dressing? I don't know. I'm not telling you. Anyway, go ahead.
Very, very simple salad dressing. Look, it's bit of balsamic vinegar, so you can do 1 balsamic vinegar, 1 part balsamic, 1 part olive oil, and a bit of seasoning as well. If it's too harsh in the vinegar, put a drop of water in and give it a good shake. That's a really simple dressing.
Brilliant.
And then you can add in, your mustard or your grey mustard and whatever, raspberries if you want as well. You know what I mean? So yeah,
Okay, I'm going to watch that, but I've forgotten already, so I'm going to watch this back later and take note of that, and I'll try it. As I say, hopefully now we'll be able to get the barbecues out towards the end of the week and hopefully through July. Vegetables, fruit on a barbecue. Obviously, the likes of fruit can be controversial if you mix it with food. But can you barbecue vegetables, and if so, what?
Absolutely. I barbecue a lot in my big green egg now, so it's a kind of smoker barbecue.
Yeah.
But if you have a gas barbecue, it's fine as well. So peppers, it's very simple. Just make sure you season. So olive oil, salt and pepper, give it a rub, stick it on the barbecue. But if you have like broccoli or, cauliflower or, some veg that might burn faster, I love putting it in the tin foil, get a good seasoning, salt and pepper, a bit of olive oil in there, grab a bit of rosemary or a bit of thyme from the garden or even a bit of mint. Just give it a good rub, chop it up and seal it up and put it in the barbecue, just on the cooler side. So it kind of creates a bit of steam in there, okay? And then, open it up at the last couple of minutes to get a bit of, that barbecue kind of flavor in there. So that's really nice as well. Or else you can just slice it and put it on the barbecue direct, like your broccoli and your cauliflower. Just make sure, the trick is to season it before,
Yeah.
Give it a good marinade.
Yeah, sounds delicious. A caller wants to know, do you think frozen veg, the options out of a supermarket, are less healthy? I presume fresh is always best, but a lot of this stuff is frozen pretty much as soon as it's harvest. This caller, the reason they ask is because they find it more affordable, but they want to make sure it's healthy for the family. So if you're considering finance and convenience, I presume frozen veg is okay, is it?
Look, frozen veg is the problem with frozen veg is it's very fresh. I love peas frozen because it's the only thing that you really get it perfect. Berries frozen are great for smoothies and stuff like that. They keep their nutrients quite a lot. What I don't like with the broccoli and the cauliflower, if it's seasoned, buy it fresh. But they kind of lose their nutrients once you kind of defrost them. You can see all the liquid coming out, but that's all the nutrients kind of coming out because the frozen, the minus degrees break the cells and they lose all the nutrients. So try not to eat fresh if you can, But for smoothies, if you're going to eat vegetable smoothies and stuff like that, frozen spinach and stuff like that, you can throw it in with your berries frozen. That's okay, because you're adding in directly blitzed, So.
Is olive oil good for you? A caller followed a diet plan that only allowed low-cal spray oils. Which is better, they ask. I'm not sure if you know which is better, but is olive oil, I always associated that with healthy countries that used it, long life expectancy and all. I don't know what
so olive oil has a good saturated fats in it, so, your body needs it. So it's not like your beef fat or your animal fats, So they're really bad for your body. They block up your veins, but olive oil is very good for you. We also have alternative, really good grapeseed oil in Donegal as well. So you can use that. That's really good for salads as well. But olive oil is good for you. So
All right, the clock has caught up on us. Kwanchi, thank you very much for joining us. I'm sure we'll be speaking to you again in your new role. Thank you for that, and have a great day.
Thanks very much, Greg.
Take care of yourself.
Okay, see you now, everybody.
Bye. Thank you very much indeed. Okay, that's the first hour of this Monday's 9 till noon show in the bag. We'll be back with more after the news and obituary notices with Donald Kavanagh.
Get more out of summer for less. With over 1,000 essentials from just €3 and under, including skincare, toiletries, cosmetics and more. This year, summer better be ready. Shop in-store and online today. Boots, with you for life. Selected stores subject to availability.
Don't sleep in and miss the very latest beds and mattress offers from dfibeds.ie, Ireland's leading online bed and mattress retailer. You'll get a comfy Irish-made mattress, upholstered base and headboard from an amazing €229. Check out the full range at dfibeds.ie. Delivery free and guaranteed to you within 7 working days. DFI Beds. Sleep well, live well.
Hello, I'm Liz O'Donnell, Chairperson of the Road Safety Authority. Summer is here, and while many of us are looking forward to holidays across the island, it's important to ensure we travel safely on our roads. So please, plan your route ahead of time. Stay alert on unfamiliar roads, keep off your phone while driving, and if you're tired, take a rest. Remember, stay cautious on your staycation. A message from the Road Safety Authority and An Garda Síochána.
If you're thinking of changing your washing machine, consider the brilliant 8kg 1400 spin washer from Blomberg. Raymond Sweeney here at Ben Sweeney Euronics. If you often need laundry washed in a hurry, this brilliant washing machine will get your daily clothes clean and fresh in under 30 minutes, saving money on your energy bills and giving you back valuable time. It also comes with a 7-year parts and labour warranty for peace of mind. Call in to us and see for yourself at Ben Sweeney Euronics, Port Road, Letterkenny, or in the shopping centre, Dunlow.
Live, on air, online and on the Highland Radio app. This is Highland Radio News.
Good morning, it's 10 o'clock. Donald Kavanagh at the Highland Radio News Desk. The summer economic statement to be published today will set out just how much the government will have to spend at budget time to tackle the cost of living crisis. There is a growing expectation that the budget will be brought forward to September with a significant social welfare package on the cards. Labour leader Ivana Bacik, however, insists the government shouldn't wait any longer, but must act now.
And we think really the end of September, the date the government is suggesting that they may move on the budget, that's simply not soon enough for so many households. In particular, we're calling for government to introduce that social welfare bonus, that double payment now, in order to ensure that families will have that little extra cushion at the back to school time.
Over 200 new jobs are on the cards for Letterkenny. The Donegal News reports today that Tata Consultancy Services, which acquired much of Letterkenny's Primerica operation in a recent takeover, is seeking 200 new employees. Last week, the Swiss-based tech company Trevisory Border Security confirmed it's seeking 30 new staff over the next 2 years. It's just opened a development centre at the CoLab building on the Donegal ATU campus. A security alert ended on the Lecky flyover in Derry last night. Just after 27, a suspicious object was found in the area. It was examined by technical officers and declared a hoax. A number of residents had been evacuated from their homes. They were allowed to return. Police say while in attendance, they came under sustained attack from a number of individuals armed with petrol bombs and paint bombs. Masonry bottles and other items were also thrown. No injuries were reported, but police say a number of their vehicles were damaged. The Donegal Mountain Rescue Team is appealing to the public for support after participating in what was described as a difficult rescue in the Blue Stacks at the weekend. The rescue saw members stay overnight on the mountain with an injured man before he could be airlifted. With more detail, here's Emma Ryan.
At 9:15 on Saturday night, DMRT members were tasked by An Garda Síochána to assist a male casualty who was experiencing severe difficulty in the Blue Stack Mountains. The Rescue 118 helicopter was on the scene but could not extract the casualty. DMRT, backed by the Sligo Leitrim Mountain Rescue Team, located the casualty at 1:20 yesterday morning after what was described as an extremely difficult hike due to weather and terrain. It was decided that the team would stay on the hill until it was more suitable to evacuate, with communications continuing with Malin Head Coastguard throughout the night regarding the casualty's condition. At approximately 7:30 yesterday morning, the casualty was airlifted and DMRT returned to base. In a social media post following the rescue, DMRT is urging people to support them so they can continue to help those who need their assistance.
A proper footpath may be a step closer on one of Letterkenny's busiest roads. Donegal County Council has been allocated €250,000 under the Active Travel Programme for preparatory studies on the footpath between Lower Main Street and Ballymacool via the Ora Leisure Centre. Councillor Jerry McMonigal is hopeful that more money will be forthcoming.
There's an increasing number of people accessing Ballymacool, the Ballymacool Park, the Ora Leisure Centre by foot. And unfortunately there's also an increasing number of vehicles, both light and heavy, along that very dangerous and busy road. So I think it's a prime example where the council can put a very good case there, and we can draw down further funding that will enable us to put a proper footpath in place that will ensure the safety of the pedestrians who use that route.
And Danish police believe a gunman who killed 3 people in a shopping centre yesterday was acting alone and selected his victims at random. 2 of the dead were just 17. 4 other people have critical injuries. A 22-year-old Danish man known to mental health services has been arrested. Copenhagen's Chief Police Inspector Soren Thomason says the terrorism motive has been ruled out.
There is nothing in our investigation or the documents we have reviewed, the things we have found, or the witness statements we have received that can substantiate that this is an act of terrorism.
Weather forecast and Met Air and Talis. It will stay largely dry today. A good deal of cloud and some occasional brighter sunny spells. A few isolated showers possible, particularly this afternoon. During this evening, cloud will thicken with patchy drizzle developing. Highest temperatures today around about 15 degrees Celsius in mostly moderate west to northwest winds. Fresh to strong on northern coasts. And that's Highland Radio News. We're back with news again at 11 o'clock. Until then, from the news team, good morning. The obituary notices for this Monday morning, the 4th of July. The death has occurred of Margaret Callaghan, née Gallagher, Bonamain, Bridgend. Her remains will repose at her home from 4 o'clock this evening. Removal on Wednesday morning at 11 to St Angus's Church, Burt, for Requiem Mass at 11:30, followed by interment in Burt Cemetery. Margaret's Requiem Mass can be viewed on churchservices.tv. Family time, please, from 10 p.m. to 11 a.m. Family flowers only, please. Donations in lieu if desired to Buncrana Community Hospital Patients Comfort Fund, care of any family member or Murphy Funeral Directors. The death has taken place of Lawrence McElhenney, Glack, Carndonagh. His remains are reposing at his home. Funeral leaving his home tomorrow morning at 10:15, going to the Church of the Sacred Heart, Carndonagh, for Requiem Mass at 11 o'clock, with interment afterwards in the adjoining cemetery. The death has taken place of Joseph Joe McColgan, Drumskellin, Tuer, Muff. Joe's remains are reposing at his home. Funeral from there tomorrow morning at 10:20 for 11 o'clock Requiem Mass in the Church of the Sacred Heart, Muff, followed by burial in the adjoining graveyard. Funeral Mass can be viewed live at sacredheartchurchmuff.com. Family flowers only, please. The death has occurred of Liam Blake, 3 Ardcolumkill, Letterkenny, reposing at his late residence from 12 noon until 9 o'clock today, with Rosary tonight. Funeral from there tomorrow morning to St Enan's Cathedral for 11 o'clock Requiem Mass, which can be viewed online at churchservices.tv. Interment afterwards in Conwell Cemetery. Family time, please, before the funeral tomorrow. Family flowers only, please. Donations, if desired, to the Donegal branch of the MS Society or the Friends of Letterkenny University Hospital, care of Pascal Blake, Funeral Director. The death has taken place of Neil Joe Harton, Colin Carndonagh. Removal from his late residence this morning at 10:15, going to the Church of the Sacred Heart, Carndonagh, for 11 o'clock Requiem Mass, followed by interment in the adjoining cemetery. Family flowers only, please. Donations, if desired, to St Columkill's Village, Clonmany. House strictly private, please, this morning. And the death has taken place of John Kelly, Woodlands, Letterkenny, formerly of Manor Cunningham. Funeral from his late residence this morning at 10:15, going to the Church of the Irish Martyrs, Letterkenny, for 11 o'clock Requiem Mass, which can be viewed live on the parish Facebook page. Interment afterwards in Newleck Cemetery, Letterkenny. Family flowers only, please. Donations in lieu if desired to Surgical 2, Letterkenny University Hospital, care of any family member. Family time, please, before the funeral this morning. For more details, including any family health guidelines for wakes and funerals, please go to highlandradio.com.
This summer, Disney Plus brings you unbelievable entertainment for an unbelievable price. Return to the Star Wars galaxy in the epic original series Obi-Wan Kenobi.
I'm in.
Meet a new hero in Marvel Studios' original series Ms. Marvel.
What does it feel like?
Cosmic.
And look for clues in a new season of Only Murders in the Building.
We will not be going quietly.
Disney Plus. All these plus more now streaming for just $8.99 a month. 18 plus subscription required. T's and C's apply.
And you're very welcome back to the second hour of the programme. Well, good morning if you're just joining us. Right, let's get to some of your comments here. A caller says electric cars are tested in flat, windless, straight, trafficless environments where the maximum mileage can be attained. Bring the same electric car to the hills and weathers of Donegal and drive it in traffic and they won't do near the mileage that the manufacturers say they will. And I know a man with one, he'll tell you the same. And I think, as you would have heard from Michael from iMotors, he talked of real world mileage, and that's really what they go by. I mean, you're not going to go into a local a dealer and they're not going to say, oh, it can do 500, but you know, they're going to tell you what it can do, the real term, the real world mileage. And of course, too, it depends on the weather too. The warmer it is, the more mileage you get, the colder it is. That can have an impact as well. But yeah, definitely, even in terms of hybrids or whatever it might be, I always would check the real world mileage rather than the advertised mileage. Do these people never learn electric vehicles will never work? More people are driving electric vehicles now than ever. Tell us your experience of driving an electric vehicle. Actually, a positive experience. It would be interesting. Maybe you got one of the more modern ones. What kind of mileage are you getting? What kind of life do you lead with it? Does it satisfy all your needs? Share the love to 086 60 25,000, 086 60 25,000, or call 07491 25,000. This caller says, I live in a very rural part of Donegal. The infrastructure is not there to have an electric car. People in Donegal would be worried about travelling as they could get caught short. We're moving too quickly with the inadequate structures in place. And, you know, when you've got someone from within the industry saying the same, you know, we spoke to someone else involved in the industry, and they said that is the problem, that the government is trying to tax people into electric cars, but not, at the same time, not providing the infrastructure to comfortably own one. That being said, as I say, and maybe we'll hear from someone, a lot of people have the home chargers and it's working quite well for them. Greg, I've got twins. One eats all kinds of fruit and veg, the other won't, and they were given the same food as children. Wow, what an interesting observation that you're able to make with two twins. One's a bit of a fussy eater, is it? The other will eat anything. You would think that one would copy the other, wouldn't you? That's really quite interesting. I'm in my 60s, never ate cheese. Is there any way I could jazz it up for me to eat? All right, that's over to you, listeners. How do you jazz up cheese? Stick it on toast with some sliced tomato on it and a bit of salt. That does it for me. But there's so many different cheeses, though. How do you jazz up cheese when there's so many different varieties? Would it be possible to organise Zoom meetings giving advice for people struggling with their weight, exercise and healthy eating advice? I went into a health food shop and it was like double Dutch. People struggle to know what to eat to lose weight. Anytime I start an interview, because I'm really conscious of that, anytime I start an interview when we're talking about weight loss, it's to try and get down to the nitty gritty, like good fats, bad fats, fibre, all that kind of stuff. You know, I don't really know what all of that means, you know. Because people would say, oh, well, it's good sugar, it's bad sugar, it's, you know, I think someone will do very well and probably already are if they actually just break it down in more simple and not use the buzz terms. Because if you're not currently in the healthy eating sphere, you know, all the buzzwords about certain good fats, bad fats and all might go over one's head. Right, okay, anyone advice on how to jazz up cheese? Is olive oil good for you? We asked that one already. What does one do when they've got oil intolerance? I can't eat mayonnaise. I can't eat them. It makes me quite quick. Any ideas on what to opt for instead? I was watching a program at the weekend, and what's those yellow chickpeas? Is it? And apparently, one of the presenters said, one of the chefs said that you can make beautiful mayonnaise from the liquid from chickpeas. Now, anyone out there with some suggestions for this listener? They want to have mayonnaise or something very close to it, but they're intolerant to oil. What can they do? What can they use instead, or what can they mix instead? Any suggestions to 086 60 25,000. All right, don't forget Jackpot Day this Thursday. Jackpot over £8,000, but we've got hundreds of euro in daily cash prizes for you all this week. It's €5 to play if you want to and can afford to. It's €1 per day. Play for fun, play responsibly, and play to support the National Council for the Blind of Ireland. You raise tens of thousands of euro for them every single year, and that money is spent on their services locally. It's a win-win. Here's the numbers.
It's time for NCBI Bingo on Highland Radio.
It's Monday the 4th of July. You're playing on a green coloured sheet. The reference number is S11. It's game number 27. The numbers are 34, 49, 50, 80, the number 9, 21, the number 2, 85, 30, and 39. Phone your claim to 9104833 before 8 p.m. tonight, leaving your name, contact number and the name of the shop where you purchased your book. Get all your NCBI Radio Bingo information at highlandradio.com.
Driving a Fiat 500e is choosing an all-new, all-electric car with an impressive range and not 80% fast charging in 30 minutes. It's choosing a car that's so full of tech it will confidently and safely drive you into the next decade. It's choosing to believe in a better tomorrow. Welcome back, future. Fiat 500e prices start at €24,995 after government subsidies. Book a test drive at Joseph Doherty Limited, Moville, or visit fiat.ie.
Travelling soon? Get your travel money completely, securely sorted with An Post Money. It's the only place you'll get foreign currency in both cash and on a currency card with 0% commission. Plus a 24/7 card helpline and emergency cash if you lose your card. So you're always sorted, whether you're here or here, or thousands of other places worldwide. Get your travel money sorted with An Post Money. Visit anpost.com or your local post office. T's and C's apply. An Post Money currency card is issued by PPS EUSA, pursuant to licence by MasterCard International. PPS EUSA is authorised by the National Bank of Belgium and is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland for conduct of business rules.
123 212 321? No, 222 is the magical 3-digit number plate for July. iMotors have Kia and Nissans available for immediate delivery. If you're thinking of changing your car or upgrading, make sure to call in to us today in Letterkenny or Malin, or visit our website imotors.ie.
Now, Adrian Kane is of SIPTO and joins us on the programme now. Good morning, Adrian. Thanks for taking the call.
Good morning, Greg.
Right, okay, so SIPTO members in one of Donegal's community schemes, I think, have voted to join colleagues in organisations in Galway and Waterford in a one-day work stoppage. Tell me a little bit about this. Is this happening this week or is it next week, Adrian?
It's happening this week and it's happening on Wednesday. And the community employment scheme in question in Donegal is the South Donegal Deanery, which is a community employment scheme that mostly is involved between on the south of the county, between Donegal and Ballyshannon, and providing services around graveyards, maintenance, etc. But just to explain to your listeners, Greg, what the dispute is about, and it's a nationwide dispute, and it's about our inability to secure pay increases for people who are employed in various different sectors under what we would broadly call the community and voluntary sector. So we also have a dispute happening tomorrow in the Irish Wheelchair Association. Now, that won't affect Donegal. The nearest place will be in Carrick-on-Shannon.
Mm-hmm.
But what unites these workers is they haven't had a pay increase in 14 years. They're on the same rate of pay since 2008. And back in November of last year, we served claims right across the entire sector on individual employments, looking for the same pay terms that had been negotiated with the public sector group of unions. And by and large, employers want to increase pay because employers are finding it difficult to retain people right across services. And because people are going elsewhere, and particularly into the HSE, where if they do a similar type job, they can get paid significantly more. So, unfortunately, we've had very little engagement with government. We had one meeting with Anne Rabbitt back in November of last year, and we haven't seen or heard of her since. And it's because of that, and because the government says they're not the employer, nothing to do with us. The employer doesn't have the money, but the government funds all these organisations in the main.
So can I just hold you on that one for a second, Adrian? Because maybe it's obvious to everyone, but I didn't see it in any of the coverage What is the employment structure here? When we talk about community schemes, who are these workers working for? Who is paying their wages? If you could explain that, Adrian. I know it might seem obvious, but not everyone might realise.
No, and this is really at the nub of the question, okay, is because there's a multitude of employers. So there are various different partnership development companies, typically, that were set up back in the 1990s. Say, for example, the Irish Wheelchair Association is an employer in its own right. So all these workers work for individual employments, but what unites them is that they are funded almost 100% by the state. Mm-hmm. So we sort of have a strange kind of development of a huge myriad of employment that in other European states probably the services would be provided directly by the state. But that's not the case here. And whereas, say, all these workers across this sector between 1986 and 2008 would have been covered by national wage agreements and would have seen their pay rise in line with what most workers, both in the public and the private sector, got. But now we're left in this situation whereby government doesn't want to know it.
Why would they decouple then, Adrian?
Well, you had the collapse of social partnership in 2008. So with that, then the collective bargaining forum no longer covered the community sector.
So if someone works, say, for instance, with the Irish Wheelchair Association, because I think you mentioned there are some pay disputes there, they say, look, I haven't had a pay rise for 14 years. I need more money for the work that I'm doing. I'm faced with the struggles everyone else is, the cost of living crisis. Do they go to the Irish Wheelchair Association and then the Irish Wheelchair Association goes to whomever funds them? Do they go directly to the funders of the Irish Wheelchair Association? How do you pursue a pay rise claim as a community worker? And you can use a different example. I'll just use the Irish Wheelchair Association because you mentioned it. It's a very good example because we've got, we would have written to the Irish Wheelchair Association back in November as well of last year and got a letter back from them and saying we would love to concede to your claim. It has merit. We are falling significantly behind. They're €3 an hour behind what a care assistant would be now if they were directly employed in the HSE. Okay, so they're hemorrhaging members, and so they are supportive of the claim. They wrote to the HSE saying we've received this from SIP2. What's your position on this? And the HSE writes back to them to say we're not the employer. That's your problem. Okay, so we're left with a kind of. Ultimately, the buck stops with government. You know, I mean, there are various different departments, all these different organisations fall within, but government ultimately has to take responsibility. You can't continue to provide these services and not pay the workers who are providing them. I presume what happens is it becomes a problem then of recruitment and retention because you effectively have, at least in some areas, they can get, as I think you mentioned it actually already, they can, for similar work in different companies, they can get paid much more, so they're going to go to that. So maybe it's just a training ground, or people will avoid it altogether.
Yeah, there was a report back in 2021, and say within the health sector of Section 39 employments, as they're referred to, 21% of employers talked about their inability to retain staff. So it's getting worse and worse. And when you look at there's a current negotiations going on with the public sector group of unions, in which the negotiations broke down at 5%. It's obviously going to land north of 5%. 3% is what the current deal is. So these people will be 10% behind very, very.
Yeah, unfortunately, that phone line has dropped out there. We've lost Adrian, but we don't need to get him back on. I think we got pretty much the thrust of what Adrian had to say. Those are a group of community workers striking primarily in South Donegal on Wednesday, and it might spread beyond that in the future. 086 60 25,000 if that's relevant to you or you can relate to that. Greg, people are buying generators now to charge EVs in Dublin as power is not strong enough to charge due to pressure on the grid. Okay, I mean, I'd have to do a bit of research on that one myself because I don't understand. The buy a generator, fuel the generator, and charge their electric vehicle via it. Okay, well, that's according to, actually, it was Councillor Michael McClafferty sent that in. I think in the whole conversation about electrification, and this is not relating to that, is if there's extremes in every conversation, and we've seen that recently on a national scale where people will quote an extreme situation as a reason why there needs to be change. And I'm sure there's going to be pictures of a generator at Glastonbury charging electric cars circulated all over the place, and it's shocking, it's crazy, and some people will weaponize that to say, well, get away from electric cars, it's absolutely ridiculous. I'm not sure that how it benefits us, really. I think really what we need, and we rely on the government to do, is to provide firstly an infrastructure that works all the time and has full power, but also that we can plug into, rather than sort of extreme scenarios which don't really talk to the wider issue in any meaningful way, I don't think. But anyway, if you disagree, 08660 25,000. Now, the Adoption Authority of Ireland has welcomed the commencement of the Birth Information and Tracing Act 2022 and invites adopted persons, parents and others affected by the Act to register their preference in relation to contact with the authority. Patricia Carey is on the birth bill issue, is the CEO of the Adoption Authority and joins us now. Good morning, Patricia. Thanks for taking the call.
Good morning.
Right, okay, so tell us, just to recap for us, we've talked about this before, but recap for us what the new Birth and Information and Tracing Act 2022 changes.
Thanks very much. Yeah, I think it's quite landmark legislation and it's very much welcomed by ourselves. I suppose it really touches on three key parts. The first is a contact preference register that opened on Friday for people to register a preference for the level of contact with their family for adopted people and birth parents. And we're really encouraging people between now and October to register on that to tell us the level of contact they might like. And then in October, ourselves and the Child and Family Agency will open for applications for people who are seeking information about their birth, early life, medical care, information as adoptees, as people who were boarded out, and unfortunately for some people whose births were illegally registered. And also in October, we will be opening with TUSLA for applications for a tracing service. So the first part is commenced on Friday, which is really to encourage people to go to birthinfo.ie.
And just in relation to that, Patricia, say for instance a 35-year-old was adopted, and they had no preference recorded as it relates to contact. They could now go and say, right, there's a place here now where I can say that if someone is reaching out for me, I want that to happen. And then say, for instance, a sibling of theirs was of the same mind, there would actually now be, or could be, a system in place that would allow us, where the information is there, to connect those people.
Absolutely. I think that's critical, that we want people to indicate their preferences. We also have 15,000 people currently on a voluntary register that's been operating since 2005. And all of those people will transfer to the new register. But critically, we want people to update their contact details, phone numbers, email addresses, so we can get in touch with them. And we know now that a lot more people are registering. So we have siblings who we want, maybe they've indicated they want to share information or share letters. So it's really important that as many people as possible register in the first 3-month window. They can obviously register after that. But one of the things that's going to assist people is that every household in Ireland is going to receive a booklet of information about the new legislation and giving them all of the information in plain English and Oscalia as well, as to how they can register, what it will mean for them, what sorts of information will be available, because we know in some instances, going back to the 40s, 50s and 60s, there may be very little information. So we want to provide people with the information that is there, that is held by the state on their adoption.
We were speaking to someone just last week who was adopted and had become ill, but had no access to their medical records. As it turned out, that they coincidentally managed to make contact with their mother around the time, and she was able to get that information. That's one of the big problems, because we all know when you go into a GP, one of the first questions they'll ask you is, is there a family history? So what will this new act do to sort of address those concerns, and how will that work?
That's a really good question, and it's a critical part of the legislation that any medical information, genetic medical information that's held on file that could assist the adult adoptee over 16 with their medical care will be shared with them or through a registered general practitioner. So we're not in a position to share information about somebody else with the individual, but if there's something on file, maybe about their early care information where they weren't well or they had a particular reaction to care or a vaccine, we will be sharing that with them. But as you say, critically, if there's a genetic predisposition in their family of birth, their family of origin, we will be sharing that information. And I think this is really, really important that we get as many people on board to register so we can share information, but also so we can update information, because you may have a parent who comes forward who gave a child for adoption, and they might say, well, later in life I developed breast cancer, or there's a history of bowel cancer in my family, and we can then place that information on file and share that with the individual. So it's not just information at the time, there will be contemporary information as well, but the legislation says that information about the person, the child as they were at the time, birth, early life and care information will be shared with them.
And in terms of, say, for instance, if someone were to give a child up for adoption today, or whenever this Act actually would cover that, say they don't want to share any of their own medical information, they don't want to ever be contacted, they just want to, are they able to do that also?
Well, I suppose there's two things there. If a child was being adopted in Ireland at this point in time, we would be gathering extensive information about the parents' genetic background, and we would, by right, be sharing that with the child and with their adoptive family, because we believe that's, I suppose, a fundamental human right to know maybe what medical history is there. But if a parent said, I don't want any contact in the future, that would absolutely be recorded and will be respected. And the legislation is in two parts. It's really about the provision of information to people, and that's what a lot of adoptees would say. I want information. I want the information that the state holds on me. And then secondly, some people may seek to have connection or reunion or correspondence with their birth parents, but they're not, you don't have to have both together. Most people will want information. If somebody registers that they want no contact or they want privacy, that will be recorded and communicated to the adult adoptee.
Do you see a lot of people, when it's their will, of course, now reconnecting? Do you see that this paving the way for that? Is it part of it?
I think so. I mean, I think people are coming on a journey, and people like programs like your own and talking about the issues. People who maybe never spoke to anyone about it may now talk to a friend or a trusted person and say, look, I did give a child up for adoption in the 50s, 60s or 70s, and I haven't spoken to anyone about it, and I want to find out about them now. I want to maybe find out some information. So I think we've grown up as a country. We know over the last number of years with a number of referenda, there's been lots of new information and new ways of thinking out there, and people are coming on a journey where they may rethink how they want to connect with their adult adopted child.
And from what period on in our history do we have reliable, sort of transparent type records, if that makes sense? Do you know what I mean? Is there a starting point where we started to get things into order that whilst maybe illegal adoptions did happen, they were the exception rather than the rule? I'm not suggesting it was the other way around at any point, but from what part of our history are our records there reliable, robust and usable for the most?
It's I suppose it's really complicated, because there were 27 different adoption societies or agencies involved in adoption from the 50s. There was children who were boarded out or informally fostered or adopted before the 50s. So you have upwards of over 100,000 people who this affects. I think in some instances the records are excellent, and in some instances they're not. And it really depends on how the adoption society or agency at the time kept their records. Some mother and baby homes had extensive detailed records, some did not. And I think that may be one of the issues we have to face over the coming months, that some people will get quite detailed records and files, and some will not. And that's just, I suppose, a historical fact that unfortunately there wasn't a common way of keeping these records. But we hope all of the information that we have will be given to people from October, and as much as possible we'll be putting that together in a coherent and a plain English and an understandable way for them.
Yeah. There's also a reference to counselling and support services available. To whom and how is it accessed?
So I suppose the Child and Family Agency are providing counselling specifically for birth mothers who may wish counselling, and that's through Bernardo's, and that's on our website, birthinfo.ie, all the details there. But also through the social workers in the Adoption Authority and in the Child and Family Agency, we're happy to engage and support, provide guidance for anyone. It may be something as simple as talk me through the form, or can I have a printed copy of the form? So people are going to have lots of questions when the booklet arrives in their household. They may have questions that we can answer, or they may need a little bit more support and guidance that can be provided through a social worker by the Adoption Authority or by our colleagues in the Child and Family Agency. All the information is on birthinfo.ie, and it will bring them to the various links, emails, phone numbers for all of the services.
And does this not normalise, but is hopefully in 20, 30 years' time, are we putting in place a system now that in time will normalise everything? In other words, the horrors of the past will be, obviously they're there ever present, but are we setting a system up now that is robust and will work long into the future, so we don't see history repeating itself? Do you feel?
Of course, and I think nowadays, every adoption in Ireland and every, child who's maybe adopted from abroad, we're very clear that all of the information that's on file, all of the information that's held, that's recorded around their adoption will be available to that young person when they reach 16. And it's, it's also landmarked that children over 16, young adults, can apply for their information come October. So we're not going to have that scant, maybe limited information that was there in the past. And it was probably there related to lots of things. I mean, if you went to school in the 50s and 60s, there was very little recorded about maybe you went to school and that was it. And we know now that records are kept in an extensive and detailed way, but they're also kept in view of the fact that they are the property and they're the information related to the individual, and they're entitled to that information.
All right, Patricia, thanks for your time this morning. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Okay, Patricia Carey there, the CEO of the Adoption Authority, talking about that new birth bill. Any comments to 08660 25,000. Coming up later on in the programme, we will be, as part of our Monday Focus, launching the Chamber Business Awards. Highland Radio are the media partners with Letterkenny Chamber. Those business awards are coming up, so if you're in business as well, that might be of particular interest to you. Brendan Devaney will join us as well, reflecting on the GEA action at the weekend, but also primarily looking forward to the DL debate. That and so much more besides. Stay in touch with us, 08660 25,000 WhatsApps and texts. Someone else wanted a bit of juicing up the cheese. This caller says, and need to go onto the naughty step for this, jam and cheese sandwich. Seriously, jam and cheese? What's that like? I mean, pickle is like jam, isn't it? But jam's fruitier, sweeter. But a jam and cheese sandwich, I don't know if that would be my thing. Hi, Greg. You can get caramelised onion relish in SuperValue Deluxe Range, fab with cheese and crackers now. Cheese and crackers and what to put on them. Beautiful. Now I'm all into that. Maybe a bit of tomato in there as well. I don't know if that would work, a bit of sliced tomato. But your jam and cheese sandwiches can get in the sea. 08660 25,000. Granya's on Facebook. My husband's friend wanted to get an electric car and get a charging point fitted at the house, but his house insurance company wouldn't cover the charger point installation at all, so they bought a petrol car. Okay, that's a peculiar one, isn't it? I've never come across an insurance company having an issue with a charging point being attached. I would have changed insurance companies, to be honest with you, before I'd have changed my mind on a car. A caller says the multinational IT companies that our government can't get enough of and who mostly employ their own people are putting major pressure on our electricity grid. Yeah, I know where you're talking. You're talking about the data centres and what have you. It's what's making Ireland so attractive and why we might not feel the full extent of the recession. Some might argue, but yeah, but get them to pay is the solution. How often do you have to charge the battery? How much does it cost? Well, it depends on your vehicle. I drove one for a year. I charged it every day, but I only charged it on a regular 3-pin plug. it didn't make a huge impact on the electricity bill. That was then. I'm not sure what the situation is in now, but it was charged overnight, you see. So I charged it once a day on a granny charger, as they call it. I only put it in a 3-pin socket, and that was able for me to come up and down to work and scooting around a wee bit. So that was my experience, and that was travelling, I don't know what, 80, 90, 100 kilometres to and from work, and then the other stuff that you have to do. As I say, so I plugged in a granny charger in a 3-pin plug overnight, and that's the kind of driving I got out of it. Right, okay. A lot of negativity re electric cars in your comments sent in today, likely from people who either don't own one or people who bought without researching its suitability to their needs. We bought a new EV this year, and we've gone from €100 per week in diesel to less than €20 per week on electricity. The longest journey to Galway, charged there while at an event, and then back into Donegal later that night without stopping public chargers to use them. Will only become more common as EV ownership increases, so get used to it or start walking. All right. And that's, to be honest with you, the reason why I made a impassioned appeal for owners of EV cars to come on and tell their story, because they're happy, okay? Less likely maybe to text in a station and go, they're great. Those with negative experience or who maybe don't think they're the future, probably more motivated to sort of have a point of view. And we want it balanced, as always, here as much as we can on this programme. So if you are an electric vehicle owner and it's a positive experience for you, share that like our last listener did to 08660 25,000.
Beat the cost of Brexit with no customs charges. Do you need a UK address for your limited company or personal use? Space Hub in Derry can provide you with your own mailbox. Have your post and parcels delivered to Space Hub and collected at your convenience. There's brand new 20-foot shipping containers now in stock, ideal for all your storage needs at our Springtown and Coolmore depots. Find us on Facebook at spacehubderry.com or call 04871 878077 for more details.
If you've got magic moments or great memories captured on your smartphone, now is a great time to have them printed at mcgee's.ie. Simply upload your favourite photos, choose your size and finish, and McGee's will take care of the rest, with the results delivered to your door. Prices are from just 12 cents, and there's also creative options available. Preserve your memories today at mcgee's.ie.
Tonight, Monday at the 51st Lennon Festival, Ramelton. There's a car treasure hunt at 7, starting at Gamble Square. Tomorrow evening from 7, there's a multicolour run from the Salmon Inn car park. All part of this year's Lennon Festival, with live music and family entertainment until Monday the 11th of July. See Lennon Festival on Facebook for details.
Sheridan Security, now introducing zero-wire smart alarm systems. Zero wire, zero mess, and a real peace of mind. With a simple press of a button, your alarm can be set or unset, or download the free app and control it from your phone. Call us today on 074 912 6025 and get your alarm from €299. Stay local, stay safe, and protect what you value most with Sheridan Security Systems.
Okay, you're very welcome back to the programme. Donald Kavanagh's talking about ham sandwiches and marmalade. Donald, that's disgusting. It's just... Okay. Ham sandwich and marmalade.
Absolutely. Or honey.
Or honey.
Or both.
Right, well, honey. No. Okay, well, I could go with honey, but the marmalade. 086 60 25,000. Tell us your weird sandwich combinations. You're going to... Ham and marmalade. I don't think anyone's going to beat that. 086 60 25,000 for your WhatsApps and texts. All right, okay, we might play a little bit more music through July and August because it's the summer season. We'll see how we get on, but it's just to sort of break it up a little bit. If you're watching, also listening to us on social media, we will be quiet for about 3 minutes due to copyright issues. I explained that to you on Friday. But anyway, for the rest of you, the majority of you, here are Tears for Fears. Tears for Fears, and we'll wish that, or dedicate that, We'll dedicate that to Even Doherty from Melton. Happy 10th birthday to you, Even. Lots of love coming in to you from Auntie Caroline. Please wish a very happy birthday to Breege Maley, Maher Curran, Convoy, and Mary McLaughlin, Killy Gordon, both celebrating their birthdays today. Coming in to you from Jonathan, Sally Boner, in Cloham, Convoy. Happy birthday to you from Eunice, Fiona, and Emer. Another request for you, Breed. Oh, sorry, for Breed Boner's birthday today. This is a different breed. My apologies. Sorry, it's not a different breed. It's a different boner. Happy birthday, Breed Boner. Kelheim Convoy from Eunice, Fiona, and Emer for you as well. Right, okay. This is something I was completely unaware of. So it seems like a really strong initiative. It's a new initiative to enable people experiencing domestic abuse and coercive control to receive support in their local pharmacy. It's been launched nationwide today, and Safe Pharmacies being led by the Irish Pharmacy Union in partnership with Safe Ireland, An Garda Síochána and the HSE. Tom Murray joins us on the programme now. Good morning, Tom. Thanks very much for taking the call.
Morning, Greg. How are you?
I am good. Right, your pharmacies and others around the country, of course, for which you speak of many of them. Tell us a little bit about what the role of pharmacies will be then.
I guess basically what it is the majority of pharmacy members in the IPU have got on board with this initiative, and it's a recognition that people who are suffering under domestic abuse or coercive control, and the numbers of which are quite staggering as I was doing some research over the weekend, can't always easily access services, especially if those under coercive control, for example, if sometimes people are monitoring their phones or their movements. So it's a recognition that 85% of the population live within 5 kilometres of a pharmacy. They use pharmacies more often than once a month. We have consultation rooms which are entirely private and confidential, and it's to allow people to come in, be that female or male, the majority of cases obviously are ladies, to come in and say, listen, I need to speak to the pharmacist in private, as normally people do through the consultation rooms. And when in there, if they say, listen, I need to access the Safe Island service, we will have the numbers for the local support groups, be that Women's Aid, Men's Aid, Donegal Domestic Violence Service, for example, the Gardaí, whichever services are needed. And the person will be allowed to contact them confidentially. They won't be overheard, they won't be listened to. They can do it privately in the consultation room and safely.
Okay,
and it's
so
just to increase access for people.
Yeah, and it's because the system is already there. It's normal, as you say, for someone to seek a private consultation. So that could be about anything, which, because we know some of the control and what have you, and the abuse, what have you, that's going to be really useful, hopefully, for some people.
Yeah, hopefully. That's the idea, is to allow people to come in as though they're doing their normal pharmacy business and to ask for a normal consultation, which happens throughout the day on a regular basis. And then when in there, they can access the services that they desperately need. Like on Safe Ireland have 27,000 contacts last year, 213,000 on their internet site. According to the EU studies, 31% of women across the EU live in risk of domestic abuse. 14% of them will have experienced physical violence from the age of 15. 6% will have experienced sexual violence from the age of 15. The Gardaí are reporting 48,000 cases last year, which is a 10% increase year on year. So we can't put our head in the sand and ignore this problem. Mm-hmm. There is a serious problem of domestic abuse and coercive control in Ireland, and there is a difficulty in some people accessing services because of those who control them.
Yeah, and
therefore we are just standing up to say we'll help that.
Yeah, and I remember I made the comment on this programme, that was the one thing that, not the one thing, but one of the things that worried me about the payphones network effectively disappearing, because often people who are the victims of coercive control or domestic abuse will have their phones monitored or checked. For people who've never experienced that, people might find that hard to believe, but it's the case, and it happens very, very regularly. And as I say, there's no public phones anymore. You are now providing a safe space for people, if they wish, to come in and maybe make some of those phone calls and start a journey for themselves.
Absolutely. And to be honest with you, a bit like yourself, when I registered for this service and I did the small bit of training that we do on it just to access the service, I was actually taken aback as to the severity of it, and I suppose I lived in ignorance of it, never having experienced it. But obviously for those people who live under the shadow of domestic violence or coercive control, this is an access point that's important and it's safe. And I suppose the other thing is that, like, most people trust their local pharmacist and the pharmacy, and they know it's a confidential service, so they have reason to be in the pharmacy. So it's about increasing access to crucial services for people who are suffering from either domestic abuse or coercive control at home.
Yeah, not everyone is tooled with or knows how to deal with someone who would come in, for instance, or come up to them and say, this is my situation. So in terms of sort of, priming staff or training staff or identifying staff, is that work ongoing? Has that been done, and what does it entail?
Each pharmacy has nominated a lead person in the pharmacy who will undergo basic training. Now, we're not saying the pharmacist or the person involved who's trained is there to solve the problems. What we are there is trained is to be the access point to know how to reassure the people that, number one, that they are being listened to, number two, that they are being believed, because there's an astonishing amount of people who believe they can't report this because no one will believe them, and number three, how to access the appropriate services for that person. That's the level of training we have, is to be able to deal with them when they come in, give them a listening ear, and give them the trust and the confidence to be able to make the call. We're not saying that in pharmacy we're in any way qualified to deal with the greater issues, but we are trained to deal with the access point to allow the people to get the supports that they need. Yeah, exactly. And it is difficult, because I've spoken to many people on this programme and off air as well. And, it can be difficult even to speak to a close sister or a mother or a father, because obviously it starts a chain of events. Whereas, being able to go to your local pharmacy, who will believe you and signpost you and facilitate you in making some calls, it removes that risk that people, or that fear that people might have in even telling a closest friend. Exactly. I mean, it's about starting the process to get help, and that's often the most difficult step, is to start the process so as to allow people to say, okay, I have the confidence to go to this place that I frequent regularly, that I know the guy or the girl, the lady that I can trust, that I can talk to, and I can get the process started to get the help that I need. Now, how do we identify which phamarcies are taking part in this? It's 850 nationwide. The pharmacies that are taking part nationwide will have a Safe Pharmacy poster and a Safe Pharmacy logo. So the poster is in the consultation room with the numbers, but there will be logos on the front window of the pharmacy and typically outside the consultation room. So there will be visibility even on the front window. So it doesn't have to be your local pharmacy. It doesn't have to be the pharmacy that you use all the time. If you're driving by and you feel that you've got the confidence to go in and you see the purple logo with Safe Pharmacy on the front window, call in and ask to speak to the pharmacist in confidence in the consultation room, and then when you're inside, you can initiate the Safe Pharmacy supports. But there's a Safe Pharmacy logo on the front window of every pharmacy that's taken part. Yeah, and all staff know, obviously, with dealing with other sensitive issues, they'll not ask what's it to do with. All staff will understand. Yeah, if somebody says, can I speak to the pharmacist in the consultation room, then all staff know that all they have to do is get the pharmacist to go into the consultation room, close the door behind them, and in that room nobody can see you or hear you. It's just a private conversation between the person involved, irrespective of what they come in for, and the pharmacist involved. Okay, Tom, listen, it's, as I say, it's the first I heard of it this morning, and it sounds like a real step in the right direction. Thank you very much for your time, as always. All right, no bother, Greg. Take care. That's Tom Murray there. Obviously, his own pharmacies, but also spokesperson for the IPU, the Irish Pharmacies Union. What do you think? 086 60 25,000, as I say. It's for men and for women, and it sounds to me, or feels to me, like a positive step in the right direction.
Better value lives at Dunnes Stores with big savings on your favourite brands. Get the lowest market price guaranteed on select 330ml boxes of beer, including 12 Corona Extra for €14.04. Or pick up half-price breakfast cereals like Nestle Cheerios 700g, now €2.59. Plus, with our 10 off 50 grocery voucher, you save even more. Which means every trip to Dunnes Stores means better value. Dunnes Stores, always better value. Terms and conditions apply. Voucher can be used on next grocery shop with €50 or more. Voucher excludes alcohol. Please drink sensibly.
Build a better future with a digital transformation course. With digital transformation courses from Advanced Centre, you can improve the way we work together and do business. The power behind 3 of Ireland's leading universities, UCD, ATU Sligo and TU Dublin, have combined to offer flexible, accredited digital transformation courses, from individual modules to full programmes. Starting in September, your future is enrolling now. See advancedcentre.ie.
This weekend, the Northwest Donegal Vintage Club will host their vintage show at their new location of Kildunfanaghy, with classic and vintage cars, tractors, other vehicles and agricultural implements. Craft and artisan displays all welcome. There's also a fun fair, tea tent and trader stalls. Traders must call 087 2366 924. On Sunday, there's music with Alex and Sinead Black, Hugh McLean and John James. Enjoy a great day for all the family this Saturday and Sunday at Kildunfanaghy.
All right, we were looking for your what might be deemed as slightly strange sandwich choices. Ham and what was it again? Can't remember the name of it. Marmalade, ham and marmalade from Donegal. Starting not to sound too bad now after listening to this. Hi, Greg. I love sausage, cucumber, mustard, mayonnaise, baguette. I might try that because I like sausage and onion. So that sounds all right. My favourite sandwich is tinned red salmon and tato cheese and onion crisps in the one sandwich. Fish and chips, effectively. It's your own variation of it. Deli staff always love when I order brown sauce, tuna mayonnaise, grated cheese and black pepper, or brown sauce, egg mayonnaise and black pepper on a brown crusty roll. Fabulous. Brown sauce, egg mayonnaise and black pepper. Okay. The other one was brown sauce, tuna mayonnaise, grated cheese and black pepper. I don't know. Brown sauce. It's kind of barbecue-ish. But you always know when someone in the deli, and the deli staff are amazing, don't get me wrong, but if they don't usually eat something like mustard, because you say, can I have ham and a wee bit of mustard, please? And they squirt it on like it's tomato ketchup or brown sauce. But anyway, marmalade and cheese sandwich, a ham and prawn cocktail crisp sandwich. Don't knock them till you try them. Right, okay. I'm going to have a marmalade and cheese sandwich. Ham and prawn cocktail crisps, I could live with that. That's not too bad, actually. Right, okay, keep them coming in to us just to lighten the mood a wee bit, I suppose. 08660 25,000. Talk to us about your crazy sandwich conversations. I'm so hungry now, I can't speak talking about food. Or call us on 07491 25,000. If you want to watch the remaining hour of the show, go onto our website, highlandradio.com. You'll see the links there, or you can go straight to YouTube, Highland Radio Ireland, to watch on your Fire Stick or your tablet or whatever it might be. Or even on your Google display, you can watch us anywhere you like. Or on our Facebook pages as well. News with Donal is coming up for you shortly.
Want unbeatable value from Sky? Here's the deal. Get Sky Broadband for just €29 a month, plus Sky Q for only €10 a month. Super fast, super reliable broadband. And Sky Q with your apps and recordings. That's Sky Broadband for €29 a month, plus Sky Q for €10 a month for 12 months. Now that is unbeatable value. Go to sky.ie.
Availability subject to location. Offer does not include Sky TV subscription. New Sky customers only. Setup fees, minimum term and further terms apply. For more info, see sky.ie/speeds.
Hello, I'm Liz O'Donnell, Chairperson of the Road Safety Authority. Summer is here, and while many of us are looking forward to holidays across the island, it's important to ensure we travel safely on our roads. So please, plan your route ahead of time. Stay alert on unfamiliar roads. Keep off your phone while driving. And if you're tired, take a rest. Remember, stay cautious on your staycation. A message from the Road Safety Authority and An Garda Síochána.
This week at Super Value we have great summer garden offers like a 3-burner barbecue with cover and tool set, only €150, RRP €325, portable wood pellet pizza oven, only €95, RRP €199, and get new weekly money off vouchers on the Real Rewards app. For great offers, it's got to be Super Value.
Hegarty's Auto Body Repairs in Letterkenny have been keeping cars on the road across the northwest for the past 50 years. Hegarty's are the only Ford-approved body shop in the northwest, but repair all makes and models. Paintless dent removal, windscreen replacement and restoration work. Hegarty's even mix their own paint. Approved by most insurance companies and certified Steel Standards Ireland. That's Hegarty's Auto Body, Letterkenny. For all vehicle repairs. See hegartys.com.
Okay, it is the 9 till noon show. We're heading into the last hour. It's 11 o'clock right now. Let's get a news update from Donald Kavanagh.
Thank you, Greg. Good afternoon. Good morning, The Summer Economic Statement is being published this afternoon. It'll set out exactly how much the government will have to spend at budget time to tackle the cost of living crisis. It's expected the government will exceed its own spending target of 5% increase per year. There's a growing expectation the budget will be brought forward to September with a significant social welfare package on the cards. However, opposition politicians continue to demand that the government wait no longer and implement action now. 230 new jobs on the cards for Letterkenny, as well as the 30 jobs announced last week by Trevisory Border Security at the Colab complex on the Donegal ATU campus. It's also been confirmed that Tata Consultancy Services, which acquired much of Letterkenny's Primerica operation in a recent takeover, is seeking 200 new employees. A security alert close to the Lickey flyover in Derry is over. Just before 20 to 7 last evening, a suspicious object was found in the area. It was examined by experts and declared a hoax. Police say they came under attack with petrol bombs, paint bombs and other missiles while they were at the scene. The Donegal Mountain Rescue Team is appealing to the public for support after participating in what was described as a difficult rescue on the Blue Stack Mountains at the weekend. The rescue saw members stay overnight on the mountain with an injured man before he could be airlifted yesterday morning. And a proper footpath on one of Letterkenny's busiest roads may be a step closer. Donegal County Council has been allocated €250,000 under the Active Travel Programme for preparatory studies on the footpath between Lower Main Street and Ballymacool via Aura Leisure Centre. Councillor Jerry McMonigal says he hopes that more money will be forthcoming to ensure that the job can be fully completed. They're the headlines. We're back with headlines again at 12 noon.
So a footpath is a step closer. Was that accidental or did you do it on purpose? Do
you want the honest truth?
I think it was accidental.
I normally don't go for puns, but I will be rather honest and say in this case, yeah, it
All
was
right.
deliberate.
Good man. Okay, 10 out of 10. Thanks, Donal. We're a step closer to news again with Donal at 12 noon. Stay tuned for that. Back with Brendan Devaney after the break.
This summer, Disney Plus brings you unbelievable entertainment for an unbelievable price. Return to the Star Wars galaxy in the epic original series Obi-Wan Kenobi.
I'm in.
Meet a new hero in Marvel Studios' original series Ms. Marvel.
What does it feel like? Cosmic.
And look for clues in a new season of Only Murders in the Building.
We will not be going quietly.
Disney Plus. All these plus more now streaming for just $8.99 a month. 18 plus subscription required. T's and C's apply.
Okay, you're welcome back to this Monday's programme, and because it is Monday, that means there's another edition of the DL Debate coming up on Highland Radio this evening. It's broadcast for you after the 7 o'clock news, but will be available too as a podcast. All right, Brendan Devaney, it's producer, joins us. Hi, Brendan, are you ready?
Greg, yes.
We're literally trying to do a
ruffling
program
away
here.
Yeah, I was
turning your multiple phones off.
Speeding it up from Gidor. Well, no, sorry, I kept it in the speed limit.
Of course, yes. You drove efficiently, but within the speed.
Efficiently, yeah.
Course, yeah.
A few roadworks up there. Bring Big Neil Gallagher for that. I keep coming down at the weekend when there's no roadworks, and then I'm shooting up here on a Monday, and I keep forgetting, no, there's a load of temporary lights there.
Come here. A quick word on the punishments that were meted out for that. We don't want to focus on it, but 6 months, I believe, was the sternest of those. What do you think? The appropriate response? I'm glad no one cares now. You see, this is why knee-jerk reactions are not advisable. I think because really, your casual fans or those with no interest in football, they don't care anymore now.
Yeah, I suppose people are on about the fact they won't actually miss any Armagh game. Tiernan Kelly, of course, club football, known as club or county champion. So it's a big blow to him, I suppose, in that way. I think probably secondary, maybe it's the punishment rather than the amount of abuse that come out, Greg. So I think all in all, I think it's something he'll learn from, and I guess that's what life's about. It was a nasty incident, and I think he should just move on from that. Particularly Armagh, maybe take a look at how they're acting in these games and in these situations, just to keep a lid on their, I suppose, their passion for the game. It's just running at a bit of a level, Greg, which is kicking off these rows. So I think for them going into next season, they have a great squad and great potential, Greg, and they should play football, play it hard, play it fair, and I think incidents like this need to be,
and you can retain a reputation if you like, but operate for the most part within the rules as well. It doesn't have to be so literally in your face.
Yeah.
Are you excited for the All-Ireland semi-finals, the pairings that we have? I know you're going to be looking forward with a particular emphasis on Derry this evening, but I'm excited.
Yeah, well, certainly the hurling at the weekend there was threw up two different.
You can tell I don't watch.
You're
Hurling.
All right, you're all right, Greg. Listen, that's not on the script at all. Listen, we're a football-heavy county, Greg, of course, and everybody knows that. But there's great work going on in hurling that as well. And listen,
I know Galway might feel a wee bit hard done
Galway
by.
woman. We're always rooting for Galway,
it was a lot close. I know the game was a lot closer than many were anticipating.
Yeah, because Limerick are just so awesome. They're going for 3 in a row, and they just look unbeatable. And listen, Galway clung on them the best they could yesterday, but I mean, it's certainly set up for a crack because the way Kilkenny dispatched of Clare on Saturday was unbelievable. I mean, no one seen that coming, but certainly Kilkenny are going to have to play at that level to match up to Clare. But so we have a fascinating final in the hurling, and who gets into football now, Greg?
But just on the hurling too, I kind of was listening to some commentary of it, not commentary actually of the game, but sports presenters speaking after the fact, and I did think of you because they were talking about how the Galway players will wake up this morning, at least they know they did themselves proud. But they'll be devastated. That's not good. I mean, maybe in years to come that might be some comfort, but they're not waking up feeling they did themselves proud as players, are they?
I would say, listen,
or will they be just
If
devastated?
you play your best, which I think Galway pretty much did, Greg. I know you can look to small issues in the game, particularly at the start when Limerick went 6-2 up at them, and then they were always chasing it a bit. When they were getting back level, and you always felt Limerick could maybe push on a small bit. But I think if you give it your all, you can go down. And if you look at us, maybe this year, the way it went out, the Derry game was ill to take because of the tactics in the game, how bad a game was, and you lose it. But the way, we get beat by 10 points by Armagh. So, I mean, that leaves a lot of questions. Whereas I think for Galway fans, and I know for the players, listen, you're going to be gutted. You're one game away from your dreams, the All-Ireland final. But certainly, did they give it their all? They certainly did, and came up short against, which is potentially one of the best hurling teams ever. So I suppose you can take that from it. But
right, on to the football then. Rory Gallagher's on with you, and Chrissy McCaig as well.
Yeah, Michael McMullen was at their press so he picked up interviews from the two guys, so I was just listening to him back there. So the focus is on and the buzz, and funny, he said to Rory about keeping a lid and things, and he was like, I don't want to keep a lid and nothing, let's enjoy it, let's go for it. I loved his interview. He was more or less saying, listen, everybody need to enjoy this. How long has it been since we've been in this position that the families and
let's not try and control expectations.
That's it.
Expect everything.
Yeah, and he made a good point about the players. He said, listen, if the players get carried away or that's an issue for them, then they're in the wrong place. They shouldn't be here. So I liked his attitude towards that, because a lot of people are always trying to keep everybody away from everything, which obviously they will to a point, but you still got to embrace it. It's that balance, I suppose, about taking in the occasion without being overawed. But I certainly think you can see the focus and Derry and the squad that they have. They're going down there. For me, I think they're slight favourites against Galway, but that's set up for a cracker. And of course, the two best teams in the country are on the other side then.
Yeah, it is. It's going to be fascinating, and I think it's going to be a good final too. I hope so. Right, okay, so we're going to be focusing on the, obviously, talking about Derry's chances as well as the other three teams. And this is what is good about your podcast as well. It's right across the board, right across club, county, and all ages as well. A focus on the recent run of the under-16 ladies.
Yeah. Popped into semi-final last week, and Liam Skelly there, Maville man, savage bit of work. He does it underage there, and I suppose you're looking at Donegal now going into an All-Ireland quarter-final next week, and where do these players come from? It comes from underage, and our young girls taking up the game and being progressed there. So that's a pity again, losing the semi-final. So I just want to chat to Liam about what's going on there, and about, we know quite a bit about the underage structure for the men's football and that, so it's just to get a chat to him and give that the respect, because I'm sure that's what the next generation's looking at. Our ladies now in the quarterfinals against Dublin, so some cracking quarterfinals coming up in the ladies football, and Ryan O'Donnell's going to come on to talk to us, and of course we're interested in our girls against Dublin, massive game, 2:00 on Saturday.
Yeah, that's one to look forward to as well. 2 o'clock on Saturday, the Donegal ladies play Dublin, and that will be previewed this evening with Maureen O'Donnell. And an interesting conversation you're going to have, I think, with the sports editor with the Democrat, Alan Foley, because I just wonder, post Donegal's exit and the manner of it and the conversation that's been having, like at what point the senior setup do you be looking towards next year? Has Declan decided he's staying, for example? Because we've seen, a decision in Mayo was made pretty quickly.
Quick, yeah.
So can we take it that he's going to stick it out? Are there meetings to come?
Yeah, he's meeting the chairman this Wednesday, Mick McGrath, to discuss it. Now,
because both will be going in with wish lists to a meeting like that, wouldn't they?
Yeah, well, certainly a lot of people were thinking, because of the nature of the hammering and that he was going to step down. I mean, your average Donegal supporter on the street kind of was thinking that, but obviously with the time frame in between, I haven't been bothered Declan this, and I know him quite well. I think because of, as I said before in this show, what he's put into Donegal football, he deserves the respect to weigh that up himself. Now, there's been
the question I'd ask you though is, in your opinion, and I know it's a small community, so I'm not trying to put you on a spot, and I couldn't either. But in terms of what we have here, okay, and the way the game's played, the way the clubs are played, maybe deficiencies in certain players in certain positions coming through. Do you believe Declan and his team are the best available at the moment for Donegal next season? Is that a fair question to ask?
Yeah, it is. Listen, there's two things there. You've kind of touched on it as well. You could look at our squad and our players and say a lot of our players didn't perform in those games. Armagh didn't come down to solely tactics. It came down to their ability to really lock us in and physically just put us on the back foot. We couldn't respond to it. So I think what happens when you lose, people just look to the management straight away. But listen, I think there's two sides to that story as well. And listen, Declan's vastly experienced. He's obviously won a couple of Ulster Championships as well. And people say we come up short in games and that, but Ulster Finals Championships are hard won. Greg, probably just the manner, as I say, in which we lost this year's Ulster Final, particularly. People will go back to that 10 minutes to go spell when we were 2 up and we didn't have a shot the rest of the game. I think that type of nature of thing, people may be looking to say, is that a tactic coming from the management? Why are we keeping ball so much? Why aren't we going for the game? And if you look at any of the teams that are progressing now, they're going for the teams
and they're able to
at the right time
as well.
They go for teams, and we've seemed to get this thing where we play in a wee fit, and starts, we get a couple of points.
And
up,
I think that's where the fan frustration comes from, because everything else, and if you follow it on social media and for what that is worth, it's like, oh, that was fantastic from Donegal today. Declan's the best in the world. And then a different game, oh, that was terrible. Declan needs to go. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I don't think it's necessarily. I think a lot of the criticism comes from maybe what we've done in certain spells of a game, like the example you've given. Yeah. And we're very, your reaction is it's instant, and it's not very necessarily analytical, because people are humans.
Yeah. But again, Greg, I would just say, if you look across their neighbours in Derry, if you look at some of the performances, particularly of the likes of Chrissy McKaig and Rogers and McKinless and the amount of talent that they have running through the team there, Glass and these boys that have really kind of stepped up this year. There's no one really in our team has gone to that.
Are we scouting properly? I mean, are the players there?
That's it.
There?
I mean, you touched on the club football as well. I mean, we'll talk at the Allen about the all county leagues and that, and just going into the championship. And again, like, I don't want to keep going on with this, but I was on to a couple of managers about the tactics that everyone's adopting, and we're still completely stuck in the mud around the two teams dropping back in, and that, I don't think that's going to progress any of our players. There's a massive issue around that there, but for now, a lot of people are looking for a change. Now, Declan's option would be to come in with a refresh backroom team and give it one last hurrah. Now, that must be still on the cards. Otherwise, I think he would have called it.
That's what I'm saying. Both are on wish lists on Wednesday, really, effectively.
That's it.
Yeah, and as opposed to people have to make big decisions, you can make a popular decision, but that doesn't actually. I don't think there's a manager in the country that could guarantee success next year or guarantee to do better than what. I mean, it's like Frank Lampard in the soccer. Everyone says, wow, he's amazing. And he spent an entire season bringing the team to precisely the same position they were when he took over. Yeah. But because they escaped relegation, he's a hero. Do you know what I'm on about? Because we as fans are quite fickle.
Yeah.
Like, we also have to consider, is there anyone on better placed?
That's exactly. Listen, you hit the nail on the head. But is there a queue up for this job? And I think if you look at maybe the attitude towards people when things go wrong, that's bound to put a few people thinking, hold on a second.
But if you think about it, you can get someone from down the country come up, for example, and go, right, I want Donegal to play like this. And they're picking from a squad of players from club level that have played a different way all season.
Yeah, no,
you have to say, well, can I switch?
That's a fair point. And plus, if you're, if you look at, maybe you're better off. I mean, from another county in terms of if things go, you can get out and escape.
Get on your horse and out of Dodge.
Which isn't an option if you think about it now. With there's quite a lot of attacks and a lot of people not happy about it. And listen, I'm never that easy about that, Greg, because we're still in the amateur sport.
We are,
level,
but I think what the thing is the love and passion for sport is the conversation often around it. And I think when things get personal, like saying someone's, and this is not, but saying they're useless or they don't care, or when it's personal, that's the problem. Hopefully we can retain a position where we can still have a chat, and you might say, I want to change, but it doesn't come across as something personal or nasty. We're so polarised in our views nowadays. That's no one minds people having a chat.
It's funny, but from the very start of this conversation, when you talked about Galway, and I think the thing is with people, when they have a go, if you look at some of our more talented players, we have ball players and they're good expressive players. They're probably not expressed themselves enough. And I think when you go down heavily in a game, when you lose a game when you're holding back, and then the next game you get trumped, it leads in, it lets all that come to the top. Or if you just mention at the very top, no Galway fan's going to complain about Galway because they give it their all. And I think you've probably got that sense in there,
Also on that, Derry could fall in the semi-finals of the football, and Rory will be lauded for what he's achieved. Yet Donegal could get to the semis, lose disappointingly, and Declan Bono would be hammered for it because but also we're a little bit spoiled by success. We take for granted winning provincial championships, where to Derry, that's like a once in a generation. So we have to.
Well, I would say
fans factor that in.
They're here to stay. That's the other thing. I would be worried. I would be worried.
Could dominate
looking across.
Ulster football for a while.
They're going to be tough to beat. I can only see them getting better. So listen, we better pull our socks up quick, or the Derry boys will be putting one over us more than this year.
All right, okay. So there's a lot on the DL debate this evening, as always. The guests are, you're going to hear from Rory Gallagher, Chrissy McCaig, also Liam Skelly is on talking about that under-16 ladies football run, which will be an interesting conversation because it spreads out more broadly into the setup in ladies football in the underages, presumably. Alan Foley from the Democrats on, and Maureen O'Donnell's looking forward to that game on Saturday, the All-Ireland football quarter-finals against Dublin, which is it's always, I mean, as soon as whenever you're facing the Dubs, firstly it becomes a bigger occasion, and secondly it's going to be tough.
That's
right. No better crew though to do them over. All right, that's on 7 o'clock tonight on the radio, just after the 7 o'clock news, Brendan. Or people will be able to get it later as a podcast on our website in the on-demand section. All right,
perfect.
I better let you go and
no problem, man. Thank you.
Do your magic. Thanks very much, Brendan Devaney there. He's back for a chat again after the 11 o'clock news next Monday. Your views, by the way, to 08660 25,000.
In 2018, Toyota cut through the confusion, completely ceasing production of diesel passenger cars, lowering harmful emissions and providing certainty for Irish drivers everywhere. And Kelly's Toyota are proud to be part of that hybrid electric journey. Visit Kelly's Toyota, Letterkenny or Mount Charles today to see what makes Toyota Ireland's best-selling car brand in 2021 and 2022. You'll never take a wrong turn with Toyota. Built for a better world. Best-selling claim based on most recent monthly figures.
Beat the cost of Brexit with no customs charges. Do you need a UK address for your limited company or personal use? Spiz Hub in Derry can provide you with your own mailbox. Have your post and parcels delivered to Spiz Hub and collect at your convenience. There's brand new 20-foot shipping containers now in stock, ideal for all your storage needs at our Springtown and Coolmore depots. Find us on Facebook at spizhubderry.com or call 04871 878077 for more details.
The all-new Kia Niro and e-Niro are coming. Available in a plug-in hybrid and full electric version. All-new styling and all-new technology. This car will blow you away. Currently taking orders with stock arriving in July and August. Call us today or visit our website imotors.ie.
If you're getting married, the in-house design team in BizPrint can get all your wedding stationery and signage needs customised to your requirements. Just visit weddinginvites.ie or call BizPrint at Port Road, Letterkenny on 91 779 55.
Okay, you're very welcome back to the 9 till noon show. Right, a caller says, in the event of an accident, how do you assist someone in an electric car? The amount of power in those electric cars, it is safe to go near the car. If two electric cars crash into each other, what happens then with the power supply? Well, there's lots of... the batteries, for example, where the problem is, potentially could be, they are in very secure containers, the same way as your petrol tank. It's like saying if two petrol cars crash together, how do you make sure the petrol tank doesn't explode? I don't see the difference there, to be honest with you, but really respect your point of view and thanks for that. What irritated me greatly recently was Paschal Donohoe, the Fine Gael finance minister, smirking when Piers Doherty was making a case regarding the high cost of living and the state people are in. As usual, Fianna Fáil and the Greens sat back happily waiting to go on their holidays. When I look at a smirk like that, I kind of think, well, maybe he's smirking at the fact that, saying, well, you have a go then, see what you could do, rather than sort of smirking at people's... being hard-pressed. Okay, right. Traffic delays at Burton Port. Let's talk to Councillor Micheál Colin McGill-Nesbig on this issue. Good morning, Micheál. How are you?
Hello, Greg. Martin White. This is Timothy.
Good to chat to you again. Right, okay. What work is ongoing in Burton Port? I mean, it's great to see money going in. It's great to see infrastructure being improved. But clearly, there's some problems with what's going on.
Yeah, and I suppose first thing I would say is to recognise the hard work at Alchahoran by the contractors, McCullough there, and others who are doing fantastic work along with the council, and it's much needed. People have been waiting for this for a very, very long time, and we see a lot of work happening in Ironmore too, which is fantastic. An area that's been socially and economically deprived, and especially when you look that it's a harbour, a fishing harbour, and we all know the story on fishing without trashing it out again. But the difficulty here is, and it's not just this last couple of days or just this year, but there's an ongoing issue in terms of traffic management. We have two ferries that services Ironmore by Jaddick, by Gotham, and then you have other services there that service the islands, the smaller islands, and diving and fishing with Muldowney and others. But the problem here is that there's not enough car park space. Different events is happening at different weekends. People are driving down to the port Galchahoran, and it's just becomes a bottleneck. And I think that what needs to happen is that Donegal County Council needs to put plans in place. I think that one of the things that would be of help would be that if we had staff there at the weekend, staff that could and have the power to enact bylaws to make sure that there isn't any difficulty with traffic. I myself experienced traffic issues over the weekend when I was heading out to Ironmore. We were, myself and a number of other cars, we were caught for maybe about 10 minutes and not being able to move.
Is the main problem then people parking inappropriately? And I just wonder, because I've seen this in other parts of the county, are there double yellow lines there on the main street that make it clear to motorists that they can't park there, Micheál?
Well, the thing is that there's so very little parking in Alchahoran. And now once this development work is done and finished, and people have been very patient to make sure that the work continues. But no, there's a problem in parking everywhere. Maybe one of the things that we could do is put in a one-way system, because we can round porting that just over the next couple of weeks. We have a big weekend coming up very shortly. Again, I think it's the 23rd, where there's a big event taking place in Alchahoran around the islands, and then you have the parents of the students in Ironmore coming and arriving as well. And I just think with that weekend, what we need to be doing is sitting down with the road section of the council, sitting down with the marine section of the council, and everybody kind of coming up with a plan that helps and works for everybody else. But what we have now isn't working, and it's chaotic at best.
Yeah, so, I mean, obviously, it might be hard to put in new traffic management over the course of this month. You're calling on roads engineers or whomever's responsible to do what to try and limit the traffic, because you say there's not enough car parking spaces, so you're sympathetic to people parking illegally, but it is causing disruption, and particularly for visitors to the area. So what are you suggesting to the council to be the solution to cover these busy periods we have coming up?
Well, I think what we can do is, and I think it's very possible if the decision is made, is that we could put staff there, like I says, that would have the powers to enact bylaws. I saw there on Saturday as well when the local link landed down there. When you have a bus coming down, you have a lot of traffic going on. You have 3, 4, 5 boats trying to get cars onto the ferries. You know, people trying to turn, people trying to come off the ferry. So you have people coming on trying to get on the ferry, and then other ones coming off the ferry. You have the ferry staff. Donegal got them doing fantastic work and trying to manage it as best as they can. But it ultimately comes down to the responsibility of Donegal County Council, which I believe. And I think that if we were all working together, if we sat down, worked out which are the major weekends, and we can put in a plan. And we have the same problem too in Armore, and it's not that long ago I wrote to senior staff within the council looking for an overarching development plan for the pier at Armore, Agat and Maharoti, and I'm still waiting a response. I spoke to the council this morning about it, and they still haven't, and that must be a month, they still haven't even acknowledged my email in relation to that. So there's a lot of work that needs to be done, and I think it's possible if people sit down and talk with each other, and we can then look what serves the area best.
I mean, listen,
and visitors.
It should be one of those problems that's a joy to fix. I mean, obviously it's going to be complicated, but we're talking about this in the context of an area being busy, the ferries being busy, activities, you know, the movement of people. So, you know, this is one of those problems should be a joy to fix by getting heads together and doing so. Because beforehand, it'd be there's no parking available, or how can we encourage people out to the islands, or, you know, there's not as many people visiting the west of Donegal. You know, we're talking here about managing a lot of people, which is good for the area, good for the economy. So, it should, as I say, it should be a joy to fix.
Well, I think so, and I agree with you, and it's only a case of sitting down. Like one of the big things for us in the West here is when the parents of the students come to visit. So if you look at Alchacarn, what we're talking about, if you have parents coming there, they're going to be spending money, obviously, to pay for the ferries. If you go into Armore, you have the likes of the Cove restaurant there at the pier. They'll be in there eating. You know, you have a Busbury, you have, what do you call it, Falbwent and other places to eat, and that's money that's really important for the island because it's a long winter. But I just think that what we need is more management and more feet on the ground, and there's fantastic opportunities there now. We see now in Armore the work that we're doing in terms of the foreshore project, and I would highly recommend Highland Radio to come in to see it. It is one of the most amazing projects.
What is it? Where is it?
Sorry?
Where is it?
Just right in the Lake Gareth there, we just developed. We'll be opening it very shortly. It's a concert venue. It can
is it on the island or on the mainland, did you say, sorry?
Right, on the island itself, Greg. It's right on the foreshore. I'll send you a few photographs of it, but it is one of the most progressive and exciting projects that's taken place on the island for a very long time.
Okay.
So there's a lot of work.
I'd be up for that. Now, the one thing I want to say from this conversation, I'm not saying you're doing anything wrong here, is not to discourage anyone from going down there. Because firstly, I actually say that that buzz and this. I mean, obviously it's an inconvenience. You have to try and find a parking spot, and maybe you have to walk a bit further. Do you know? And the weather's beautiful, and you're getting on the ferry or whatever you're doing. I wouldn't discourage anyone from going down there. There's a problem there that we're trying to fix, but it's still well worth a visit. And it's obviously a little bit difficult with people with mobility issues. But as I say, you know, it's busy, it's buzzing, and maybe it'll attract some people rather than putting them off.
No. It's really important that we don't discourage people to go down. But at the same time, what's really important is that we highlight it. And again, I do a lot of work around harbours and piers, especially the islands, as you know, I'm very passionate about. But the reality is that what we're doing isn't working. So we need to change it. So if it's not working, it's not working. We recognise that, and then we sit down and we try to put in place what can work, what suits the fishing community, the island community, the port community, the ferries, and others who are working from the pier, and what suits them. And when the visitors come to the area, like on Saturday, from the port, from the pier, right on up until you got to Kellysore, to the old Cope there was cars parked right up the side of the road. There was a whole handling in terms of going down. The difficulties of reversing, pulling in. It became a bit of a mess, you know, and that delayed things. So what I'm saying is that if we had people on the ground, of Donegal County Council, and hopefully that they're listening today, that they'll now move.
Yes.
To look towards the biggest weekend on the 23rd, and maybe put people on the harbour that will help manage it. And I say again, and giving them the powers to enact the bylaws.
Yeah, all right, okay. Thanks very much for that. That's Councillor Micheál Colin McGill-Nespig. What do you think? 086 60 25,000, 086 60 25,000, or call 0749 125,000. Text just dropped in here. Take the positives and be happy that there is people in the town, I say. That's kind of the point I was trying to make, and I was pushing an open door with the councillor there. But that doesn't mean you can't sort of raise the issue of trying to improve people's experience. Okay, I get that. Right, coming up very shortly, and particularly if you're in business, you might be interested in this, but it's for all of you. Letterkenny Chamber are launching their business awards. That's coming up shortly. We'll have some guests in studio to do that and talk about what's the competition, how do you get involved, and what have you. Highland Radio delighted, I think, to be a media partner this year. We'll tell you all about that in a moment.
The moment you got told the good news.
Rob, you made the panel.
When the lads added you into the group. Skipping nights out, missing the crack. Rewatching classics and learning new tricks. Being driven to the biggest game of your life by your mam. And then you finally come on in the 51st minute. It's the minor moments that last a lifetime. The Electric Ireland GAA Minor Championships. This is major.
This is not just a pizza night, this is an M&S pizza night with the €14 meal deal. Choose 2 pizzas and 2 sides to create the perfect combination for the family to share. €14 pizza meal deal, now at M&S. Offer on selected products, see in store for details.
Foy & Company are offering amazing discounts on a great selection of display sofas with up to 50% off a range of 2-seater, 3-seater and corner sofas in a choice of colours and styles. If you're getting a new suite of furniture, don't miss the big display sofa clearance sale on now while stocks last at Foy & Company in Letterkenny and Ballybuffet and online at foys.ie.
This summer, make some magical memories with family and friends at the Northwest's biggest adventure water park and inflatable assault course at the Shorefront Maville with Inish Adventures. There's a whole world of fun waiting for you this summer. Kayaking, paddleboarding, banana boating, storm rides, sailing. Perfect for birthday parties, hen or stag parties, or a great family day out. Plus a cafe on site. For more details, call Inish Adventures Mobile or online at inishadventures.com.
Okay, now Letterkenny Chamber Business Awards 2022 is a Letterkenny Chamber of Commerce initiative aimed at celebrating the very best of business in Donegal, and the awards recognise current success, ambition and future plans. This year's awards are in partnership with AirGrid, and the media partner is Highland Radio. I'm going to talk to 2 guests in studio in a moment, but I want to talk first to Sinead Dooley, Head of Public Engagement with AirGrid. Sinead, good morning to you.
Good morning, and good morning to your listeners on Highland Radio.
It's great to have you with us. Okay, so tell us, AirGrid, why they decided to back this ceremony or this awards this awards initiative.
Awards initiative. First of all, I think it's a great initiative, and chambers up and down the country have these awards initiatives, and it does, as you say, recognises the work in the past and looks to the future of the businesses in the northwestern region. And it was this came about. AirGrid were in Letterkenny in the last number of weeks holding our Energy Citizens Roadshow. And it was very clear to see there's a vibrant local regional economy, and the Chamber is supporting this. So when we were approached by the Chamber of Commerce, it made perfect sense that AirGrid would be a partner in this. Look, we're working with communities and businesses in terms of delivering a safe, secure supply of electricity. It's needed for the businesses to grow. We need to do it for a country to grow. So we were only too delighted and happy to be the overall sponsors with yourselves, the media sponsors this year, Greg.
Yeah, and there's a whole list of awards, and AirGrid is sponsoring as well the Sustainable Superstars Award. I suppose that's a logical connection for your company?
It is a logical connection, and indeed, as part of all of our project delivery, we have a strand of funding that focuses specifically on sustainability. So, you know, it provides an opportunity for the businesses in the areas to look at how they're delivering businesses, their more sustainable manner in which they can do so across a range of issues. So without giving away any hints as to how they will win the award, it does look at a number of businesses, small, medium and large, are already embedding sustainable goals within their delivery of their own individual businesses. So it'll be interesting to say to businesses, put your thinking caps on, look at what you're doing and bring forward some of those initiatives that need to be recognised by the general public as well. So I'd encourage as many businesses as possible across all of the sectors to look at the work they're doing, not take it for granted, but just to use it as an opportunity to highlight their own business, but also to acknowledge some individuals within their various businesses that are hitting the ball out of the park, as we would say in the Midlands here.
Yeah, and finally, I suppose when we talked about sustainability in business, a number of years ago, maybe a lot of the conversation was trying to, educate or convince businesses that is the way forward. Obviously for the planet, but for them as well. I think that argument's been won to a great extent now, and a lot of businesses are seeing the benefits of it for themselves, and also how that sort of connects with their customers.
Absolutely. And in terms of whether it's from a recycling perspective, whether it's from looking at your very topical and with ourselves, your energy use, how you could be more sustainable, you're right. There's a huge focus. Business and community as an organisation have put a huge emphasis around businesses being very conscious of their sustainability, not just, as you say, for their customers, want people to and businesses to show how they are being cleaner and greener, what they are doing in terms of meeting those sustainable development goals. So not alone is it good for the environment in terms of saving costs for businesses, it's good, and also savings that maybe into the future passed on to the customers. So such a great opportunity. You're right, in the past it was kind of a box ticking exercise, but now with global warming and indeed with increased prices across the board, people see it as a real opportunity, say, to reuse, recycle, reinvent on occasions as well. And we're really looking forward to see what initiatives are going to come forward from the Northwest and Letterkenny and Donegal region.
Okay, I'll just hold you on the line for a second because Tony Forrester, CEO of Letterkenny Chamber, is in studio with us, and I neglected to get you headphones, Tony, but I think you got an awful lot of that. But I just want a word while Shay's still on the line. It's great to have that tie-in. It's great to have a company like Airgrid on board, and good morning to you.
Good morning. Yes, it's absolutely fantastic, and for us to get this key partner, I suppose, on board. We've been running the awards now for 7 or 8 years, maybe longer, and it was always our intention to try and get a good brand with us, and we're delighted.
Enough about Highland Radio. What
Yeah,
about
well,
Airgrid?
no, there's another point. I haven't even mentioned them yet. And it works well, with the sustainability one as well. We started last year just on a small basis, but we think that's a real growth area.
All right, Sinead, listen, thanks so much for joining us this morning.
Delighted, and looking forward to seeing you soon again at Letterkenny.
Excellent
Thanks,
stuff.
Greg.
Well, we look forward to welcoming you. And Sinead, like all of us, of course, very busy this morning. We also welcome into studio Sean Quinn, Head of Sales with Highland Radio. Good morning to you, Sean.
Morning, Greg.
All right, okay. So we'll talk about the media partnership, but we'll sort of go back to the beginning a little bit now. This is the first post-pandemic business awards, isn't it? As far as I'm aware, Tony. Talk to me about, for those switched on for the first time or in business for the first time, talk to me about the awards, what they hope to recognise, who they're open to.
Yeah, so the awards generally are open to anyone in business. We have 14 awards, really wide range. So we go from anything from emerging business right through to the larger companies who are exporting. We have a Innovation and Creative Thinking Award, and one of the ones we wanted to mention this year. So we've been doing these awards like this for a long time. We've had always around 13 or 14. This year we've 14 awards, and there's one I want to mention, which is Business Through Irish, and that's a brand new one for us. We have never done it before. Now that would be one limited. It's sponsored by Leitcher Letterkenny, and it's limited to Letterkenny businesses, and that's one of the only ones.
Yeah, well, that ties in quite well with their initiative to try and promote the casual use of a language in an urban setting too, which I think it's a great thing they're doing. Yeah. They're making great inroads in that.
And I suppose having the 2 years, when last year we did a really small awards, and we did about 7, And I suppose it gives us time to think a little bit more about our categories to kind of make them relevant, to make them suitable for people. We always get a great response for business excellence because businesses love talking about themselves. And I suppose that's the bit where, some people think, I don't really want to have the time, or I don't like talking, I don't want to bum myself up, if you know what I mean, for want of a better expression. We would just say, tell us what you're brilliant at. And it, when they start doing that, you start seeing this lovely, I suppose, description of a business.
Yeah, that was the floodgates, doesn't it?
It really
gets
does.
The creative juices flowing.
Uh-huh.
So your Business Excellence Awards, Sustainable Superstars, Excellence in Marketing, Digital and Social Media, which is really important. And, there's some businesses are thriving in that space as well. So that's interesting. Best Community Health and Wellbeing Initiative, helping people live healthier lives. Letterkenny Retailer of the Year, that will be hotly contested as it always is, I'm sure. You talked about Business Through Irish, that Best Tourism Initiative. I suppose those wishing to partake in this are invited to think outside the box as well, aren't they? Because, there's a quite maybe, very obvious ways in which you could say, right, we're doing that well, but you're looking for people to say, educate us on how you're doing it may be different to how we might imagine.
Yes, and that's the whole point. There's on all the application questions, there's why should I win?
Yeah.
And that's their chance to say, you know what, we're doing this better than someone else. And that's exactly, you said that, people have standards that they run their business to, industry standards. We want someone who step up a wee bit more than that. Tourism is an interesting one. We added that a few years ago. And we put initiatives specifically because it wasn't just about hospitality businesses, for example. We've had applications from community groups who run tourism, little things in their community. So it's really, it's trying to be as creative as possible. And I think that's the most important thing. And don't be shy. So really look at your business. The marketing one tends to always get a fairly good application, a number of applications, and we wanted to put it all together because I think marketing is more than just digital and social. And then last year we had sort of online because people had changed their business, and it was amazing watching what people have done over the last few years.
And also, how do you engage with your customers? Accessibility, Diversity and Inclusion Award, and hopefully in 5 or 10 years we don't have to recognise that as an individual thing, that it will just be the norm across the board. Business Person of the Year and the Hall of Fame Award.
So these two I have to mention. These are special awards, and we ask people to nominate people for those. The Business Person of the Year in particular, is there someone there who's outstanding this last year? We've had people like
say
David from Druva.
But someone who sort of interviews people about business or invites people onto business shows like this one, would they be able to be nominated for Business Person of the Year? No?
No.
Okay.
Nice plug there, Greg. Nice plug.
Is there anything there for me?
We'll try and find one for you at some stage.
Hall of Fame now is for people who have contributed.
There's certainly no chance of that
You're
one.
too young for that one. You're far too young.
It's not just old people here.
But come here. Yes, exactly. You didn't say anything for the last 10 minutes, and the first thing you said you had to be pulled up on by Tony. But come here, that's
our Hall. Can I mention our Hall
ahead.
of Fame? Our Hall of Fame is one of these awards. We've had it for about 8-9 years, and it celebrates someone who has contributed to the life of Letterkenny, economic life of Letterkenny, and we've had some fabulous winners.
And I've interviewed a couple of them, and the story is far beyond their business. It's community, it's everything, so okay. And we can jump back into some of those. I want to bring Sean back in actually now to see if he can redeem himself after his ageist comment. Sean Quinn, head of...
I was being kind to you.
I know you were. Sean, no, it wasn't. There was no harm in it at all. Sean Quinn, head of sales with Highland Radio. Nice little tie-in for us as well and for the Chamber. It's good to be involved, isn't it? Because obviously media now is everything. If this was 15 years ago, we'd be talking just radio. But now we've got a huge reach on our website. We've got a massive reach across social media and across the world. Like truly, in a unique position in this county across all platforms, being on air or digital. So I think it's a great move for the Chamber as well, but great move for us.
Yeah, and I don't really have to say more to what you just said there, because that's part of the reason why it is such a good partnership between us, because we can get right across the county and we can almost call ourselves global because of the reach that we can get across all our channels, and we'll do that. And we're delighted to be in a partnership with the awards. And as the I suppose the progression of this, the nominations and then the closing nominations, will be very much part of it, and it'll be on air, but very much online as well and through our social pages that will keep people informed of what's happening. And then, of course, the big event on the evening of in the Mount Errigal Hotel, obviously, there'll be a whole piece behind that as well.
Yeah. And what I like about this as well, Tony, this is about, it's backpack, it's patting people on the back, it's celebrating, it's promoting business, because these are the businesses that employ our teenagers. These are businesses that we go to and say, listen, you couldn't sponsor such and such. Not all of them are able to do so, but these are the people that employ, and that money circulates through the economy, and they should be celebrated and they should be patted on the back because they're an incredibly vital part of community life.
Mm-hmm. The range of businesses we get to apply for the awards is amazing. So you will get manufacturers, you'll get the local shop, retail kind of thing, people. And it is their story. It's their story. It's how they contribute. And as you say, they create the employment. We have something in there in investing in people. And we put that in this year again, newly. People are, it's hard to get people at the moment. So when you have someone in, people are spending much more money on keeping them there and improving the whole sort of employability of people. So, yeah, I always look upon this as the stories, that brilliant atmosphere people get, when they start saying, well, I've done this and I've done it differently.
I think they should be proud of what they do as well, Greg, because
keeping their doors open, nothing else, in the last number of years.
I know we're moving forward, but what we've come through, and I think businesses have got stronger because of it. And I know that the customer retention is so important, and what they do on a daily basis, it makes a difference. It makes Donegal what it is.
It's amazing, and they support us too, so it's nice for us
Absolutely.
to be able to, and to say us
to
being
give
Highland
back.
Radio as
Absolutely.
well. Right, so when are applications open then?
From now.
Ta-da!
Hey!
Do I need to have a drum roll somewhere?
We haven't got a ribbon to cut or anything like that.
Yeah,
from now.
Cut my hair, but
well, let's not go there.
I won't know. I didn't say a
it's
word.
funny because there is none. So applications are open right now. The go-tos. Oh, that's a question I wanted to ask. Is this for chamber members or is it for
anyone.
the wider business community?
No, wider business community.
Okay, and outside Letterkenny as
and
well.
I want
to
be really important about that. You do not have to be a member of the chamber
Okay.
to apply for the awards, to win the awards. It's
Brilliant.
an independent judging panel, so we don't get
There's no
involved.
preferential treatment for members.
No.
And also it's the Letterkenny Chamber, but I know from being at previous awards there's businesses coming in from different areas as
So
well, Tony.
there's two specific ones: Letterkenny Retailer of the Year and the Irish one.
And outside of
Business
that?
through Irish. Outside of that, anybody can apply.
Brilliant. Okay.
And we're really, really welcome that. Last year, I think our sustainable one was won by Killybegs Company, and we've had Killybegs companies win awards in the past.
I just want to mention a few of the businesses, if that's all right, that are supporting the individual awards as well. Bank of Ireland, Airgrid, as we mentioned, Champions Travel are involved, Optima sponsoring one of the awards, Dillon's Hotel themselves, Linra Electricana, you mentioned, the Donegal Airport, the CoLab, Donegal ETB, FM Services Group, Permanent TSB, Donegal County Council, City of Derry Airport. They are...
Yeah, you just mentioned AIB.
Did I not mention
Yep.
AIB? All right, okay. I have nothing against them.
Yeah,
They were
and some of
perfectly
these
within their rights. No, I'm only joking.
some of these, Greg, have been with us from the
I see
very
some familiar
beginning.
names,
Yeah, and they've supported us throughout. It's been amazing. So, and with a few new ones this year.
I think it'll be great to get people back into a room as well, because there's no better
When
feeling.
is the award ceremony?
11th of November.
Okay, so it's a short enough running
It
when
is,
you think about it. Yeah.
And Commissar, once the shortlist goes out, you'll start seeing profiles of the shortlisted companies. There'll be 3 in each category, we hope.
And also, too, this is a great way for businesses to celebrate their staff as well,
Yeah.
because they are the front of the business. So another reason for businesses to get involved, I think.
It really is. And you've been at our awards night. It's good fun.
I remember the first half. I don't know what happened after that.
no
Now we're sitting beside me.
No, it was a nice atmosphere.
Yeah,
it's
a fun night. It's about celebration, and that's it. And everybody loves. I mean, we get to the sort of end of it. Business person in the Hall of Fame and the whole room.
So our role as well, of course, is ongoing, Sean, but I suppose too then when we get to the shortlist, then we start kicking in a bit more as well, yeah?
We will, yeah. And we'll help promote in any way that we can through all channels. And we'll probably come back on and give you an update when nominations are closed. I think there's an online voting for some of them as well, isn't there?
There will be in the shortlisting.
I think that's a really nice element to it as well.
Yeah, people get involved in that. It's quite fun. Now, it doesn't necessarily...
it's tougher than the council elections at times. some of the canvassing that goes on.
Yeah, and then you have to remember some people are better at social than others.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, so we do have to. We have a bit of a waiting in there.
Yeah,
for that.
and it's fairly done as well. And I think the great thing about it is the suspense on the night, because there's 3 or 4 people in the category, one winner, but all acknowledged, and that's important too.
Exactly, because being nominated is, and this sounds very, whimsical and everything, but actually being shortlisted, being nominated, being shortlisted, you're part of it then, we wish everyone could be, but they can. But obviously, you have to get it down to a shortlist, and it's about celebrating business and networking as well. Strangely,
so that goes on the night.
Yeah, there's little business relationships.
Well, actually, last year there was, and I'm talking only people in the room were the shortlisted people and the sponsors, but somebody started supplying. 2 people actually started supplying a local business.
It's amazing.
They met on the day, and that was tiny wee bit of we were only there for about an hour.
Yeah,
so
actually happened.
You definitely get more than that.
Okay, so the winners then will be announced at the annual Gala Ball on Friday the 11th of November 2022. It's in the Mount Errigal Hotel, and as you say, it's an independent panel of judges. It's all very open and transparent and fair and weighted where it needs to be to ensure that it's
Yeah.
All right, Sean, anything else you want to add?
We obviously we'll launch it today through press release, and people can go to our website. We'll also be on our social channels for all the information, and we'll tie in with the Chamber's social channels as well. So.
All right, brilliant stuff. Anything you want to add?
No, just go to our Letterkenny Chamber website, and you'll find Business Award tab.
And get involved. Don't be afraid to blow your own trumpet. I think most people are okay with that now because it's in business. But don't be afraid to blow your own trumpet. Often people don't do it for you. Go in and tell us exactly why you're brilliant, exactly why your staff are fantastic, and why you're the best at what you do.
That's all we want them to do.
Exactly. And be as adventurous as you want with the language. You have a comments box there. All right, is that it?
Yes,
Great.
that's it. Great,
Tony
thanks.
Forrester, CEO of Letterkenny Chamber. Sean Quinn, Head of Sales, Highland Radio. Sinead Dooley, who joined us via call there, Head of Public Engagements with AirGrid. Okay, we'll be back with more on the programme after we take a quick break. Stay where you are.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you in association with Florit Letterkenny, celebrating 5 years in business, offering quality wooden floors at exceptional value. Visit florit.ie. Around the Northwest will be live this Wednesday from the big car draw at B&S Credit Union, where one lucky member will win a brand new Hyundai i20. There will also be €15,000 in cash prizes and refreshments. So join us this Wednesday from 12 noon, live from B&S Credit Union, Main Street, Ballybuffet.
Experience Grammy-nominated music sensation Celtic Woman on their all-new tour, Postcards from Ireland, Millennium Forum Derry, Friday the 12th of August. Tickets from £29.50 on sale now. See millenniumforum.co.uk and celticwoman.com for details.
For me, it started with the specially selected Parma ham from Aldi. So silky, so melt in the mouth. You'll speak Italian after it. What about the specially selected sourdough cob? Irish, so you'll still sound Irish after eating that. And don't even get me started on the lime, basil and mandarin hand and body lotion. Shame you can't smell it over the radio. All this choice starts with Aldi. Every day amazing.
Forward Emphasis International, based in Mallinhead, are recruiting for their IT, training and customer service teams, with both in-office and hybrid opportunities available. Experience in contact centres or insurance services is desirable but not essential, as full training is provided for customer service roles. Please visit their website www.forwardemphasis.ie and apply via their careers page.
This Thursday, the Jive Time Show will be live from the 51st Lennon Festival in Romelton, where they've got a great lineup of family entertainment and big band nights, including Derek Ryan, the original voice of Smokey, Chris Norman, and Jimmy Buckley. So be sure to tune in this Thursday to David James, live from Romelton. For festival details, see Lennon Festival on Facebook.
Thanks to Tony and Sean again for coming into studio. We appreciate it, and get involved. As I say, it sounds like it's going to be a great thing. My microphone doesn't sound normal today for some reason. I don't know what's going on, but anyway, we'll work on that. Does anyone know how to go about getting a DNA test in relation to the adoption bill? I've been looking into it and making no progress. So someone out there hopefully will understand that question better than I might and will be able to point us in the right direction. Brendan Devaney's new role as sports commentator improves by the week, enjoys podcasts and interviews on Highland. Yeah, indeed. I think he's doing a great job. His podcasts listened to outside Donegal as well. It kind of is one of those, when you have people talking about what they know and what they love, it's always good radio, good podcast. So great to see that going from strength to strength. My elderly aunt is in Letterkenny University Hospital at the minute. The room is lovely and the staff, but the TV does not have a remote. All she wants to do is watch the news. Why put the TV in the room without a remote? Oh, it's frustrating, isn't it? I understand. Back to football here. The abuse to Declan and his family and the players from the Donegal public has been disgraceful. I'm ashamed to say I never would have believed if they owe no one anything. Sorry, they owe no one anything. It's an amateur sport and people need to remember that. But we also have to remember as well, okay, that a noisy minority of people who would be disrespectful in their comments is not representative of us as a county. No more so than the few that might boo during freeze. That's not representative of the entire county. It's representative of those that are engaging in it. Declan Boner can take Donegal even further. Declan Boner cannot take Donegal further. I think he should step away. But who wants these jobs? You're greatest if you're winning and you're damned if you are not. And therein lies the problem. We had a few joined us as well on the conversation about sandwiches. This isn't too bad, actually. I could go for this one. Their sandwich was cheese and finely chopped onions, or cheese and scallions with a little bit of mayonnaise. Or great, a boost for cheese. There's nothing nicer than a cheese and onion sandwich with vegetable soup. That's one of my favourites. I wouldn't go with the mayonnaise, but I appreciate where you're coming from. A great boost for cheese, if you like mustard, is make Welsh rarebit. It is delicious. Okay. Cheddar cheese and banana, delicious. Now, I don't know what the focus is on cheese, because someone was looking to spice up their cheese, and then we started talking about sandwiches generally. Cheddar cheese and banana. On what? I don't know. There's something wrong with that. Not in a very serious way, of course. By the way, just a quick story here. A 2-year-old from Kentucky has become the youngest person to be given membership to Mensa. Isla McNabb's parents, Amanda and Jason, first noticed their daughter's intelligence after she left plastic alphabet blocks strewn about the house in the suburb of Louisville, Kentucky. By the couch, they had been arranged to read sofa. Wouldn't that be lovely? Near a remote control, the letters read TV. And not far from the baby's tabby, booger, appeared the word cat. Given that the average child starts reading at the age of 6, it was pretty clear that Isla was exceptional. She was reading at kindergarten level at 2, Amanda McNabb said. So I said, let's see what's going on here. Let's see how smart she is. That is pretty impressive, being able to spell at that age with blocks on. I don't think I even have blocks for Hudson with letters on, so maybe their parents were had a bit more foresight. Okay, listen, that's where we have to leave it on the programme today. Thanks for all your company this Monday. We really do appreciate it. Thanks for listening. Thanks for texting in or watching, whichever way you did. I want to thank Donna Marie and Emma, who produced and researched the show today. It's very much appreciated. We're back with you tomorrow morning at 9. Stay tuned.